Chapter 1761. Someone's here. Yun Luofeng's expression changed. He grabbed Yun Zhao's hand and said, "Let's leave this place first." With a thought, the two of them returned to the room. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. "Master, I've brought that woman back. Come in." Yun Zhao's voice was low and hoarse. It gradually rang out in the silent night. The door was pushed open. Long Shi walked in with a woman in his hand. His blue robe fluttered in the night wind. With a wave of his hand, he threw the woman on the ground. Qin Luo coughed dryly and spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body was rather limp, as if she could not exert much strength. Her eyes were filled with viciousness when she looked at Yun Luofeng. "She seems to be unable to leave Mount Hidden God. What method did you use to bring her out?" Yun Luofeng raised his brows and asked. Long Shi glanced at Qin Luo in disgust. "It's very simple. I crippled this woman and she will naturally be able to leave." Qin Luo was imprisoned on Mount Hidden God. Under normal circumstances, she could not leave this mountain range. Otherwise, she would not have used her cloning technique to find Baisu. However, there was another way to make her leave. That was to make her a good-for-nothing. There was a formation on Qin Luo's body. That was why she was imprisoned in that place. However, the formation only worked on spiritualists. Since she was already a good-for-nothing, the formation was naturally broken. "I told you to kill her." Yun Zhao's cold eyes looked at Long Shi. "Why did you bring her back?" Long Shi shuddered involuntarily when Yun Zhao's gaze landed on him. He hurriedly explained himself. "Master, mistress, this woman mentioned that there is a mysterious space in the 7 continents. Hence, I had specially brought her out to await master and mistress's decision." "Mysterious space?" Yun Luofeng gently stroked his chin and smiled as he looked down at Qin Luo, who was lying on the ground. "You should know what I want to know." Qin Luo gritted his teeth. "I will not tell you. Is that so?" Yun Luofeng raised his brows with a faint smile. "Then you would rather die than confess." "Humph." Qin Luo snorted and turned his head away, refusing to look at Yun Luofeng. She would rather die than do as these people wished. "Milk tea." Yun Luofeng ignored Qin Luo. He instructed indifferently, "You are probably hungry. I will leave this person to you." Whoosh! As soon as Yun Luofeng finished speaking, countless gold-seeking mice appeared in the room. However, the eyes of these gold-seeking mice were full of resentment. Even if they were hungry, they wouldn't eat humans. Unfortunately, these gold-seeking mice's sorrowful eyes turned into greed in Qin Luo's eyes. A trace of panic flashed in her eyes. "What do you want? What are you doing? Don't you know?" Yun Luofeng chuckled. "I've never liked to waste time. Since Long Shi brought you back from the Hidden God Mountain, he must have wasted a lot of time. So, how could I let you become useless? It just so happens that these gold-seeking mice of mine haven't eaten for a long time, so I gave you to them as a reward." The gold-seeking mice's eyes became even more resentful. They had just enjoyed the spiritual medicine of the divine grimoire space not long ago. How did it become food to their master? Moreover, other than spiritual medicine, they couldn't eat anything else. Chapter 1762. Even so, the gold-seeking mice would not tear down Yun Luofeng's stage. They all looked at Qin Luo and bared their sharp teeth, their eyes filled with malevolence. "Yun Luofeng, you vicious woman. People like you will definitely go to hell." Qin Luo screamed, his body trembling. "Thank you for the compliment." Yun Luofeng raised the corners of his lips. "I also want to know what hell is like. If I'm lucky enough to enter hell, it will be my honor." Qin Luo's eyes widened in shock. Wasn't everyone terrified of hell? Why did this woman make it sound like a good thing? "But," Yun Luofeng smiled evilly, "even if I can really enter hell, you won't be able to see it because my gold-seeking mice are extremely hungry. Soon you will become their food. Do you know what it feels like to be eaten by a gold-seeking mouse? Their teeth are very sharp and can tear off your flesh in one bite. Unfortunately, their mouths are small and their stomachs are small. I'm afraid you won't die immediately." With every word Yun Luofeng said, Qin Luo's body trembled a little and the fear in his eyes intensified. No, you can't do this to me. I'll tell you everything. Qin Luo was already scared out of his wits. He knew that this woman would definitely do what she said. In these 7 continents, there's actually another space. Qin Luo bit his lip. That space is called Spirit God Continent. Spirit God Continent? Yun Luo Feng frowned and a trace of contemplation flashed across his eyes. I was wondering why there hadn't been any deities in the continent for so many years. Little Mo had appeared beside Yun Luo Feng out of nowhere. A trace of understanding flashed across her clear eyes. 10,000 years ago, this world wasn't divided into so many continents. Whether it was the Roaring Dragon Continent, the Soulless Continent, or the 7 continents, they were all called Spirit God Continent. Hearing Little Mo's words, Qin Luo's face carried a sarcastic smile. Spirit God Continent? Only the place we're in is worthy of being called Spirit God Continent. As for the place you are in, do you know what we call it? We call it the Abandoned Land. What did such a remote place have to do with the Spirit God Continent? Ignorant. Little Mo sneered. If I'm not wrong, someone divided the Spirit God Continent and opened up a small space. That's why no one knows of the Spirit God Continent's existence. Little Mo paused for a moment before continuing. As for why the spiritual energy in these 3 areas of the 7 continents is so thin that not even a single spirit herb can grow, it's probably because the person who created the space also absorbed all the spiritual energy into the Spirit God space, causing the others on the continent to be unable to become gods. Spirit herbs required a large amount of medicinal ingredients. Otherwise, there wouldn't be no spirit herbs left after so many years. All of the herbs were very ordinary and couldn't compare to the herbs in Yun Luofeng's space. Qin Luo was about to retort when Little Mo mocked her for being ignorant, but she didn't expect him to mention spiritual herbs. Her eyes widened in shock. You know about elixirs? There were actually people who knew about elixirs in this desolate place? Spiritual medicine? Are you talking about this kind? At this moment, Yun Luofeng stretched out her hand, and a purple flower appeared in her hand. Purple spirit flower? Qin Luo's heart trembled. Spiritual medicine, this is indeed a spiritual medicine. You actually have a spiritual herb. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Chapter 1763. Her face was deathly pale, her face full of fear. Even though there were spiritual herbs in Spirit God Continent, they were all extremely precious and required hundreds of years to mature. Plus, this purple spirit flower was even better than the ones she saw in the auction. Where is that space? Yun Luofeng slowly approached Qin Luo and asked coldly. She originally thought that the 7 continents were the strongest continents. She didn't expect that there was a mysterious space within the 7 continents. Compared to Spirit God Continent, she wanted to know whose masterpiece it was. How could the strength of a person who could open up a space be described as valiant? I don't know. Qin Luo bit her lips. I only know that if you spread the news that Ghost Emperor has reached Half-Step Void Realm, someone will come looking for you. Other than that, you can't go to Spirit God Continent? Yes, the spiritual energy in Spirit God Continent is also precious. The experts there won't waste spiritual energy on outsiders unless you reach Half-Step Void Realm. If they think you're valuable, they'll come and take you away. Half-Step Void Realm is the weakest person in Spirit God Continent. Yun Luofeng continued to ask. No. Qin Luo shook his head. There are people born and raised in the Spirit God Continent. Of course, those people have to start growing from the weakest. However, I can say that the number of people who have half a step into the Void Realm in this place can be counted on one hand. In the Spirit God Continent, there are countless of them. Yun Luofeng's heart sank. She really wanted to understand Spirit God Continent. However, if someone came looking for her, she would be in a passive position. This was something she didn't want to happen. If I don't let anyone know that Yun Xiao is Half-Step Void Realm, will no one be able to find me? Qin Luo looked at Yun Luofeng. Half-Step Void Realm is only a part of God's Spirit. When you reach God's Spirit, it will cause a phenomenon. At that time, the people there will definitely notice. At this point, Qin Luo sneered. However, the spiritual energy in your place is too thin. It's impossible for anyone to reach God's spirit. So, you can stay here for the rest of your lives. But, let me go. Let you go. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and smiled at Qin Luo. Qin Luo's eyes darkened when she looked at him. I'm from the Qin clan of the Spirit God continent. If I die, the Qin clan will definitely know. When that happens, you'll be in trouble. Do you really think that people from the Spirit God continent will come? Yun Luofeng chuckled. If my guess is correct, under normal circumstances, the people of the Spirit God continent are not allowed to come to the outside world. Qin Luo's heart trembled, and he quickly looked up at Yun Luofeng in astonishment. This woman actually knew everything? Not bad. It was true that the people of the Spirit God continent could not casually come to this continent. The reason why she was imprisoned here was because a dozen years ago, the news of a half-step Void Realm woman was spread out. Spirit God continent sent people to capture her. At that time, the Qin clan also volunteered to come. Yes, the people of the Spirit God continent would never be polite to outsiders. It was impossible for them to ask you to enter the Spirit God continent with good intentions. Instead, they would directly send people to take you away without giving you any chance to resist. She still remembered that the force that cultivated the half-step Void Realm woman seemed to be from the Holy Lady clan. That woman was still being held by the Qin clan. Chapter 1764. As for why the Qin clan would bravely come here, there was a reason. Spirit God continent had a rule that whoever captured a half-step into the Void Realm would belong to that clan. The Qin clan knew in advance that the one who broke through to the Void Realm was a young woman. Not only was she beautiful, her future was limitless. Plus, the Qin clan's young master was lustful. Of course, he wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. Long Shi. Yun Luofeng lifted his head to look at Long Shi. This woman is useless. Get rid of her. Her cold voice brought Qin Luo back to his senses, and a look of panic flashed across his face. You really want to kill me? If you kill me, the Qin clan will not let you go. Although Qin Luo looked like she was ready to die, in reality, she was more afraid of death than anyone else. At that time, she only pretended to be calm because she had the information that Yun Luofeng wanted. Who would have thought that this woman was cruel enough to threaten her with the golden-seeking rat? Now, after getting the information she wanted, she turned her back on her. Yes, mistress. Long Shi lifted Qin Luo and turned to walk out of the door. To get rid of this woman, it was better to go somewhere far away. She didn't want to taint the place where master and mistress lived. After Qin Luo was taken away, the room became quiet. Yun Luofeng turned to Little Mo. Little Mo, what do you think of Spirit God continent? Master, Little Mo pondered. Do you remember the people who chased after Zhu Qian 1,000 years ago? Is it related to Spirit God continent? Yun Luofeng frowned. I don't know. I asked Ji Zhutian about it. 1,000 years ago, there were gods on this continent. However, Ji Zhutian was seriously injured and went into seclusion for a long time. When he came out, the continent changed. Not only did all the experts disappear, even the spirit chi became very thin. This is also the reason why Ji Zhutian's strength regressed and his injuries have not recovered yet. That's right. Little Mo lifted her head and looked at Yun Luofeng. The people who chased after Zhu Qian also disappeared at that time. I suspect that they also entered Spirit God continent. Powerful people could live for 1,000 years without a problem. Moreover, wasn't Ji Zhutian an old monster who had lived for 1,000 years? Moreover, Little Mo paused for a moment before she continued. The continent must have changed a lot when Ji Zhutian was in seclusion. Otherwise, those experts wouldn't have disappeared and another space has been opened up. Ji Zhutian told you all this? Little Mo nodded. I'm curious as to why there aren't any gods on this continent, so I asked him a few questions. Little Mo, we'll talk about these things after I see Zhu Qian. Yun Luofeng's eyebrows gradually relaxed. Previously, I promised Master that I would go to West Spirit Academy. Now that there's nothing else, I should go as promised. A pair of hands reached out from behind Yun Luofeng and pulled her into an embrace. The man's warm embrace made Yun Luofeng's heart slowly calm down. His whole body was filled with warmth. No matter what happens, I won't let you suffer any harm. Yun Xiao also felt that this spirit god continent was perhaps the greatest enemy they had ever encountered in their lives. But no matter what, he would protect her safety. He would never let her come to any harm. Yun Xiao, with you here, I'm not afraid of anything. She had never been a person who was afraid of trouble. Now that Yun Xiao was by her side, she could not be afraid of anyone. So what if it was spirit god continent? Those who offend her will be punished no matter how far away they are. Chapter 1765. Yun Xiao, I want to leave tomorrow to find Ji Jiutian. Yun Luofeng pondered for a moment. Perhaps he knows something. All right. Yun Xiao curled his lips. I'll accompany you. He never said anything unnecessary. Just saying, I'll accompany you was enough. West Spirit Academy was heavily guarded. The students did not know what was going on, but they felt that West Spirit Academy had not been peaceful recently. At this moment, a cry of surprise was heard, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Look, there's actually such a good-looking person in our academy. The crowd looked towards the direction of the voice, and in an instant, gasps could be heard. The handsome man and beautiful woman walking over from afar were like characters from a painting. They were so compatible and harmonious. The woman was dressed in plain white, fluttering like snow. She was devastatingly beautiful and unparalleled. The man was handsome and cold. His hawk-like eyes were filled with tenderness only when he looked at the woman beside him. At this moment, a phrase popped up in everyone's mind. A match made in heaven, a man of steel and tenderness. Such a pair of lovers must be extremely loving. It was as if only the people beside them could enter their eyes. Where did they come from? Why have I never seen them before? A woman stared at Yun Xiao with eyes full of love. She was somewhat envious of the woman standing beside Yun Xiao. If this man were to look at her with such a gentle gaze, so what if she died? I'm not sure. Why don't you go ask? Someone poked the woman with eyes full of love and egged her on. Forget it. Can't you see that this man already has a wife? And such a beautiful wife at that. Why should I ask for trouble? It was obvious that this woman knew her place. She admired Yun Xiao's beauty, but she would not try to strike up a conversation. Otherwise, she would embarrass herself. Of course, not everyone thought the same as this woman. From the crowd, a woman dressed in light green leisurely walked out. She was like a willow branch facing the wind, full of tenderness. Her cheeks were dyed red as she walked shyly to Yun Xiao. Sir, are you a new student recruited by the academy this year? If there's anything you need to know, I can. Yun Xiao did not even look at the green-clothed woman, and directly walked past her. The girl in green was dumbfounded. Even if she wasn't as beautiful as the man's wife, she was still one of the top 10 beauties in West Spirit Academy. How could she just walk right past her? Could it be that she didn't notice her? That must be it. Olan, can't you see that this man's eyes are fixed on his wife? Why do you have to seek trouble for yourself? A disdainful voice came from the crowd. Olan stomped her foot and glared fiercely at the woman who had spoken. Zhangxia, don't think that I don't know that you've taken a liking to this man just like me. You've always snatched anything that I've taken a liking to since I was young. Do you want me to give it to you this time? You'll have to see if you're qualified to give her to me. Zhangxia sneered. Besides, I've never robbed a married man. You! Olan's face was flushed with anger. These two must be new students who entered the academy this year. Otherwise, there's no way I haven't seen them before. As freshmen, aren't I the one who calls the shots in West Spirit Academy? Zhangxia scoffed. Olan had always looked down on others just because her brother was a prodigy on the heaven roll. She would even snatch someone else's husband. Chapter 1766. Furthermore, she did not think that with such a beautiful wife by his side, that man would be bewitched by Olan. Zhangxia, forget it. Don't fight with Ouyang Qi. Someone beside her consoled. Olan's brother is on the heaven list. There's no benefit in going against her. That's right, Zhangxia, you should take a step back. Don't be fooled by this man's wife's beauty. Olan's status in West Spirit Academy is very high. Perhaps this man will give up on his wife and choose her because of Olan's status. Speaking of which, why do I feel that this woman in white is very familiar, as if I've seen her somewhere before? It had been 5 years since Yun Luofeng left West Spirit Academy. In these 5 years, West Spirit Academy had changed its students. Only a small number of geniuses had been accepted into the Elders' Court. The rest were either new students who had entered within the past 5 years or trash, who had never passed the examinations and were unable to leave West Spirit Academy. Even so, Yun Luofeng had caused such a stir in West Spirit Academy that year that even the dean was alarmed. The students who had been left behind would still have some impression of her. However, it was precisely because 5 years had passed that they had not yet associated Yun Luofeng with the young girl from 5 years ago. "Oh Lan, you won't get your way this time." Zhangxia stomped her feet and said unwillingly. In reality, which woman would not be moved by such a good-looking man like Yun Xiao? However, compared to Olan, Zhangxia had her principles. If Yun Xiao was still unmarried, she would definitely use all means to fight for him. If he already had a wife, she could only give up. Was she going to become a concubine? Her pride would not allow her to do so. Whether or not I succeed isn't up to you. We'll see. Olan snorted and walked past Zhangxia like a proud peacock. As she squeezed past, she did not forget to bump into her fiercely with her shoulder. Zhangxia's expression immediately darkened. If not for the person beside her pulling her back, she would have gone up and fought with this shameless woman. Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao were naturally unaware of everything that had happened in the academy. They walked into the elders' room without any obstructions along the way. However, 5 years had passed and the academy had undergone too many changes. Those familiar faces had all disappeared. "Yun Luofeng, you finally came?" The sudden surprised voice made Yun Luofeng pause. He turned his head and saw a devilish face. "Hu Li." Looking at this fox-like man, Yun Luofeng was in a good mood. "Why are you here?" "It was Elder Su Kong and the others who asked me to come back. They wanted me to take up the position of an elder in the academy and I agreed." Hu Li smiled. "Although I agreed to this request, I will never forget that I sold myself to you. Whether I live or die, I will always be yours." Yun Zhao's expression darkened at the mention of selling her body. She coldly glanced at Hu Li. Hu Li's body trembled under his gaze, but she couldn't figure out what she had said to provoke this unpredictable man. "I've been gone for 5 years. This academy has changed so much that I can't recognize it." Yun Luofeng said with a faint smile. The corners of Hu Li's lips curled up. "It's been 5 years. The people from the original academy have already left. Now there's a new batch of students. I'm the only one left on the heavenly list. That's good too." Chapter 1767. Yun Luofeng was initially worried that she would be recognized the moment she entered West Spirit Academy. If that was the case, her leisurely days would probably disappear. Hu Li seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes dimmed and she sighed. "It's a pity that I failed to live up to your trust and failed to find Wu. You don't have to look for him." Yun Luofeng raised her head. "Because I've already seen him. Wu was by Su." However, these things could not be explained in a few words, so he did not intend to explain further. Hu Li scratched her head. "I'm relieved. Oh right, Elder Su Kong and the others have been waiting for you for many days. Come with me now." Yun Luofeng nodded and walked behind Hu Li together with Yun Xiao. In the elders' courtyard, a group of elders had been waiting for Yun Luofeng. In reality, when Yun Luofeng appeared in the West Continent, someone had already informed them. That was why they were waiting for her. Yun Luofeng walked into the courtyard and saw all the elders sitting together. Su Kong, Wu, Linghai, Tian, and Shuang. These elders were the first people she met when she came to the 7 continents. They were also her lifelong teachers. "You're finally here." Shuang was the only female among the elders. She naturally showed her emotions. She immediately stood up from her chair and walked toward Yun Luofeng excitedly. The other elders also looked at Yun Luofeng with pride in their eyes. Although they did not teach Yun Luofeng anything, It was enough for her to recognize them as her teachers. Then she would be the pride of their lives. Shuang, let's talk business first. Cheong Tian coughed dryly and said, Talk about what? Shuang glared at Cheong Tian and turned to Yun Luofeng with a smile. You must be tired from the journey. I'll bring you to rest later. These 5 years you've worked hard. Everyone only knew of Yun Luofeng's reputation. They certainly did not know that she must have gone through a lot of hardships along the way. Yun Luofeng lowered her gaze and saw the heartache in Shui Ying's eyes. Her heart warmed slightly. In the short time they had spent together in West Spirit Academy, these masters had indeed given her their utmost sincerity. No need. Yun Luofeng shook his head and said, When Master Su Kong went to look for me, he asked me to come to West Spirit Academy when I have the time. I thought you must have something to say to me, so I came. Shuang paused and could not help but sigh softly. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with you. However, I thought that with your relationship with the dean I should inform you. Ji Jiutian? Yun Luofeng's heart tightened as he asked anxiously, Did something happen to Ji Jiutian? Yun Xiao turned to look at Yun Luofeng. He didn't know why, but Yun Luofeng's anxious behavior made him very unhappy. Of course, he wasn't unhappy with Yun Luofeng, but he was targeting Ji Jiutian. However, he also trusted Yun Luofeng. He knew that in her heart, Ji Jiutian was just a trustworthy friend. Therefore, no matter how displeased he was, he would not show it. Shui Ying pursed her lips. Not long ago, the dean accidentally discovered that there is a space on the 7 continents. Spirit God continent? Yun Luofeng was stunned as he asked. It's not Spirit God continent. Shui Ying sighed. It's just that the dean discovered that the spiritual energy in that space is very dense. Therefore, he ignored our objections and forcefully entered that space to increase his strength. However, I have a feeling that the dean's trip will definitely not be easy, so he asked you to think of a solution. Chapter 1768. What's the way to get to that space? We know the way to get to that space, we just need time to prepare. Shui Ying looked up at Yun Luofeng. So, I plan to look for the dean with your other masters. However, West Spirit Academy needs someone to guard it. That's why I asked you to come. Although they said they wanted Yun Luofeng to think of a way, they had already decided everything. Even if they had to abandon West Spirit Academy, they had to go to that place to find the dean. However, after thinking about it, they still could not let go of West Spirit Academy. That was why they asked Yun Luofeng to come. Send me to that space. Yun Luofeng looked up at Shui Ying and said word by word. Shui Ying was stunned. No, it's too dangerous. You can't go. I can't go, but you can. Yun Luofeng pursed her lips. If I go, at least I can protect myself. Plus, I have Yun Xiao to protect me. The elders knew what Yun Luofeng meant. She was afraid that they would be in danger. That was why she volunteered to go to that space. No. Su Kong stood up. This is West Spirit Academy's matter. How can we let you take the risk? Besides, our old bones aren't that useless yet. Yun Luofeng's expression was determined. Firstly, I am also a member of West Spirit Academy. I should do my best for West Spirit Academy. Secondly, Ji Jiutian is my friend. He has protected me so many times. I can't just ignore him. Thirdly, she paused and continued, I'm afraid I will have to provoke Spirit God Continent. Spirit God Continent? Su Kong's eyes flashed with panic. How did you provoke Spirit God Continent? With their status, it was impossible for them not to know of Spirit God Continent's existence. What they did not expect was that Yun Luofeng had provoked Spirit God Continent. Now do you understand why I want to go to that space? Since I want to be enemies with Spirit God Continent, I need to have a breakthrough in strength. I can't do that in the 7 continents. I can only go to that space. Hearing Yun Luofeng's words, Su Kong sighed helplessly. Okay, then go. Before you come back, I will take good care of your family. Yun Luofeng's expression was filled with gratitude. Thank you. Void laughed bitterly. Why do we need to thank you? Besides, we should be the ones thanking you. It was originally our responsibility to look for the headmaster, but we just had to drag you down with us. Yun Luofeng did not say anything in the face of the elder's apologies. Wasn't the space that Ji Jutian had found an opportunity for her? When will the space open? Yun Zhao's low voice rang in the ears of the few elders. 3 days, give us 3 days to prepare. All right, in 3 days, Feng and I will come find you. Yun Xiao raised her hand and wrapped it around Yun Luofeng's waist as they walked towards the door. Should we go back and say goodbye? There's no need. Yun Luofeng shook his head. When I left the East Continent, I told my grandfather that I might be away for a period of time. As for the Steel Flame Regiment, I've already placed them in the Spirit Array. There's no need to specially return. The Spirit Formation was the formation that she always carried with her. As it was not convenient for her to mention this formation every time, she had named it a Spirit Formation. Within the Spirit Formation, the members of the Steel Flame Regiment made rapid breakthroughs. Yi Ling and Qing Yan had already reached the Venerable Spirit stage and were only a step away from becoming a Holy Spirit stage. Chapter 1769. Because the Elder's Court doesn't have a resting area, Elder Su Kong has asked me to bring you to the Academy's Disciples' Cultivation Room. Hu Li scratched the back of his head and turned to look at Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao. Are you really going to that place? I have to. Yun Luofeng curled her lips and a dangerous glint flashed across her gently narrowed eyes. Indeed, she had to go this time. Hu Li laughed bitterly. I know I can't stop you, but you must come back alive. In his entire life, he, Hu Li, had never admired anyone. Only the woman in front of him. Even when he had sold his body to her 5 years ago, he had done it willingly and without any regrets. Don't worry. I cherish my life very much. I definitely won't die. Yun Luofeng blinked and a languid look appeared on his face. I'm tired, you can go back first. Hu Li had wanted to say more, but he knew that Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao were indeed very tired from the long journey. So, he took one last look at the two of them and walked towards the Elder's Court. At this moment, in the Earth Roll Disciples' Cultivation Room in the West Spirit Academy, Olan suddenly stood up from her chair, her expression uncertain. You're saying that those 2 new students know Elder Hu Li? She did not know Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's names, so she had used the word new student instead. Senior Sister Olan, I saw with my own eyes that Elder Hu Li had brought them to the cultivation room. Moreover, they had also made a trip to the Elder's Court before this. If my guess is correct, they must have gone to look for Elder Hu Li. A young girl stood in front of Olan, her face filled with flattery and flattery. In my opinion, Senior Sister Olan, you're better than that woman in every aspect. Your brother is even a heaven-roll genius who surpasses Hu Li. In another 1 or 2 years, he will also be able to enter the Academy's Elder's Court. By then, his status will definitely surpass Hu Li. Olan fell into deep thought. My brother is very powerful, and his future is limitless. However, Hu Li is an elder of the Academy no matter what. I have to give him face. Senior Sister, I have an idea. The young girl's eyes turned slightly. Since Elder Hu Li knows that woman, why don't we spread a rumor that this woman came to the Academy to hide a mistress in Hu Li's golden house? She took advantage of the fact that her husband was no longer in collusion with Hu Li, and the two of them already had a physical relationship. At that time, not only would that man suspect his wife, even Hu Li's reputation would be ruined. Olan's eyes lit up. In the beginning, she had wanted to use her authority to suppress them, but who knew that these 2 new students would be acquainted with Elder Hu Li? Hence, she could only find another way. Hu Li is not the kind of person who can be easily framed. If he is found out, Senior Sister Olan, you can totally frame that bitch Zhang Xia for this. Even if they find out, it has nothing to do with us. All right? A glint flashed across Olan's eyes unconsciously, and she laughed silently. Xiaoling, I'll leave this matter to you. If you succeed, I'll go to my brother and say a few good things about you. Perhaps he'll fall in love with you. The eyes of the young girl who was called Xia Ling lit up, and her expression was filled with bashfulness. Senior Sister Olan, I'll handle this matter properly for you. After saying that, Xiaoling bid farewell to Olan and walked out. As Olan watched her leave, her lips curled into a mocking smile, and her face was filled with disdain. Idiot, why don't you take a look at yourself first? How dare you dream of becoming my sister-in-law? In this world, only the most powerful woman is worthy of my brother. Chapter 1770. Senior Olan. At this moment, the silent young man in the room could not help but ask, "If you don't want to help Xia Ling, why did you agree to her request?" "I just want to use her to do things for me." Olan lay on the chaise longue. How dare she have such wishful thinking? My brother is one of the top 3 on the heaven board. Not everyone is worthy of him. Then what kind of person do you think is worthy of Senior Ofei? The young man asked this with a purpose. Ofei was the dream lover of countless girls in West Spirit Academy. His own sister was also in love with him. Not only was Ofei gentle, but he was also extremely talented. Ever since he entered West Spirit Academy 4 years ago, he used 4 years to climb to the 3rd place on the heaven board. More importantly, he was the youngest genius on the heaven board. Of course, this youngest genius was the current heaven board. Naturally, it could not be compared to the heaven board 5 years ago. Forget about Yun Luofeng on the heaven board 5 years ago. There was also a lunatic like Hong Luan. However, the heaven board changed every 5 years. Yun Luofeng and Hong Luan had left the academy for 5 years. The current heaven board of West Spirit Academy was naturally decided by Ofei and the others. Do you know Yun Luofeng? Olan suddenly became excited. 5 years ago, she was a woman who caused a sensation in West Spirit Academy. I think only a genius like her is worthy of my brother. Yun Luofeng? The young man's eyes widened in shock. He was not unfamiliar with this name. It should be said that the entire West Spirit Academy, or even the 7 continents, knew of her existence. What the young man did not expect was that Olan's appetite was so great that she thought only Yun Luofeng was worthy of her brother. To be honest, although Ofei was talented, it was only in the West Spirit mainland. The current Yun Luofeng was already a high-level holy spirit. Ofei was not even worthy of carrying her shoes. Obviously, the young man did not dare to say this out loud. He did not dare to offend Olan. Especially, in Olan's heart, her brother was the most outstanding man in the world. Therefore, she said such exaggerated words to clear her doubts. Senior Olan, Yun Luofeng, is already married. In other words, if you want her to be your sister-in-law, I'm afraid that won't happen. Olan pursed her lips. Isn't there Hong Luan from the East Continent's continent governor's residence? She was also from West Spirit Academy back then. If we were to settle for the next best thing, I think she would be quite suitable to be my sister-in-law. The young man's face had already turned the color of pig liver. Was she sure that her brother was worthy of Hong Luan? In terms of status, Hong Luan was the eldest daughter of the East Continent Prefecture, the future East Continent Prefecture Lord, while Ofei was just a disciple of an aristocratic family. Comparing the status of the academy, Hong Luan was ranked 1st in the heavenly list for 5 years, while Ofei was only ranked 3rd. In terms of strength, Hong Luan was younger than Ofei, and her ability was also stronger than him. What qualifications did she think Ofei had to stand beside the eldest daughter of the East Continent Prefecture? Moreover, Olan looked as if she felt that she had suffered a loss. After a while, I plan to go to the East Continent with my brother. At that time, I want to get to know the eldest daughter of the East Continent Prefecture. When she sees how handsome my brother is, she will definitely fall in love with him. The corner of the young man's mouth twitched. He suddenly felt that he should keep his distance from the Olan siblings, lest they bring him along when they court disaster. Thinking of this, the young man composed himself and said, "Then I wish you success, Senior Olan. I just remembered that I have some matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first." After saying this, the young man left in a hurry. He had to go back and warn his sister that she was not allowed to chase after Ofei. Chapter 1771. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. On the main road leading to the academy, a woman dressed in a blood-red dress was enchanting and charming. Her beauty was absolutely moving. Next to her, a handsome man was following her step by step. He did not fall behind in the slightest. "Why are you following me?" Hong Luan turned around and glared at Nan Gong Yuni as she asked angrily. Nan Gong Yuni confidently tossed his hair. Before you agree to marry me, I'm going to follow you. Hong Luan narrowed her eyes. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill you? You won't kill me. The corner of Nan Gong Yuni's mouth hooked up into a smile. At most, you'll just beat me up. But even if you beat me half to death, I'll still follow you. In any case, you can't possibly leave me behind. Nan Gong Yuni, you're digging your own grave. Whoosh! Hong Luan angrily drew her sword. If you continue to follow me, I won't be polite anymore. Actually, if Nan Gong Yuni had simply followed her, Hong Luan would not have been so angry. Unfortunately, this man liked to get physical. Every time she was angry, she would beat him up. Unfortunately, no matter how she hit him, this man would stick to her like a dog skin plaster. No matter how she chased him away, he would not leave. Don't you want to look for Yun Luofeng? We've been through life and death together. What harm is there in us looking for her together? Nan Gong Yuni glanced at the sword against his neck and spoke without batting an eyelid. If Hong Luan had placed a sword against his neck when he had first met her, he would have been so frightened that he would not have been able to stand steadily. Now that he knows that Hong Luan will not kill him, what else is there for him to be afraid of? Isn't it just getting beaten up? It's not as important as finding a wife. I'm a student of West Spirit Academy. It's only right for me to return to West Spirit Academy. What's the matter with you following me? Hong Luan's beautiful face was filled with anger. Her eyes were ablaze and she gritted her teeth as she spoke. I'll ask you one last time. Are you leaving or not? If you agree to marry me, I'll leave. Nan Gong Yuni replied shamelessly. Hong Luan tightened her grip and a line of blood appeared on his neck. Nan Gong Yuni, it's not impossible for you to stay. As long as you promise me that you won't get physical again, I'll let you stay. Nan Gong Yuni curled his lips. He only wanted to touch her face or secretly kiss her when she was sleeping, but before he could do it, she would wake up. When she woke up, she would definitely be beaten up. But even so, he didn't want to leave. Seeing that Nan Gong Yuni didn't say anything, Hong Luan gradually retracted her hand. I've said it before, I don't need you to take responsibility, and you also don't need to follow me to take responsibility. I, Hong Luan, am not so weak that I have to marry you just because my body has been seen. Nan Gong Yuni took 2 steps forward. He was just about to explain that he didn't want to marry her because he wanted to be responsible. Who knew that Hong Luan did not give him a chance to speak. The tip of her toes pushed off and scurried into the sky. Compared to Yun Luofeng, Hong Luan had stayed at West Spirit Academy for a longer period of time. Naturally, she had also established a small group of her own. These small groups of people had long since dispersed and left West Spirit Academy. However, before Hong Luan came to West Spirit Academy, she had sent letters to the members of these small groups, informing them of her arrival. Hence, in order to see Hong Luan, those small groups of people had gathered from all over the place and had already surrounded the academy since a long time ago. Chapter 1772. Xiaoling, what's happening in the academy these 2 days? Why are there so many unfamiliar faces? And they're not even new students. The academy's new students had gone for the trial yesterday. Olan had found an excuse for Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's absence, which was that Huli had opened the back door for them. Because of this, Olan was certain that the unfamiliar faces were not new students this year. Senior Sister Olan, I heard that the Heaven Leaderboard number 1 from 5 years ago has returned. Heaven Leaderboard number 1? Hong Luan? Olan's eyes lit up and she quickly stood up from her chair. Are you sure it's Hong Luan? I've asked around. Those people are former students of the academy. They're here to welcome Hong Luan. Xiaoling's eyes were filled with doubt. Of course, he did not know that Olan was trying to matchmake Dai Fei. That was why he did not understand why she was so interested in Hong Luan. That's great. Olan was all smiles. However, in the next moment, she saw Xiaoling's doubtful gaze. She coughed dryly and said, How's the matter I asked you to do? Hearing this, Xiaoling hurriedly replied, I've given the order. Rumors will start spreading very soon. However, the thing you promised me, Senior Sister Olan, Don't worry, I won't go back on my word. Olan's eyes flickered. I'm tired. You can leave first. Yes, senior sister. After receiving Olan's confirmation, Xiaoling left in a joyful mood. Dai Fei had always doted on this sister of his. With her help, it would not take long before she became his wife. Xiaoling blushed at the thought. However, after she left, she heard a loud laugh behind her which made her frown. However, she thought that Olan was excited because the new student's reputation was going to be ruined, so she did not think too much about it. Our luck has been too good recently. In the room, Olan curled her lips as a determined look flashed across her eyes. Not only have I found the man I want to marry, but someone who's qualified to be my sister-in-law has also appeared. Perhaps Hong Luan had also heard of my brother's reputation and came here out of admiration. Otherwise, why would she not have returned to West Spirit Academy for the past 5 years and come here not long after my brother had broken into the top 3 of the heavenly list? Olan thought gleefully that if her brother became the son-in-law of the East Continent Prefecture, her status would rise as well. From then on, no one would be worthy of her attention. What a pity, Yun Luofeng is already married. Otherwise, this woman would be the most suitable person for his brother. Hong Luan was only the young mistress of the East Continent Prefecture, while Yun Luofeng was already standing at the pinnacle of the continent with his own strength. If not for the existence of the Ghost Emperor, perhaps her brother would have a chance? I wonder what that Ghost Emperor looks like. It's said that he often wears a mask outside, and very few people have seen his true appearance. Therefore, I'm sure that he must be extremely ugly. How can such a man compare to Big Brother? If Yun Luofeng knew Big Brother first, he would definitely fall in love with such a handsome man. Yun Xiao would only remove his mask when he was by Yun Luofeng's side. In the past, when he was alone outside, no one would be able to see his true appearance. In the Jun family, he had never worn a mask, be it for a banquet or a wedding ceremony. However, those who were qualified to enter the Jun family would not gossip about him outside. Therefore, the world naturally did not know what the Ghost Emperor looked like. Chapter 1773. West Spirit Academy. Hong Luan had just descended from the sky when a group of people came to welcome her. Their faces were filled with excited smiles. Boss, you're back. Hong Luan raised her eyebrows, her domineering red robes fluttering in the breeze. When did you return to West Spirit Academy? We've only just arrived. We haven't had the chance to take a good look around the academy before you returned. If that's the case, then let's go. I'll go see the elders first, then I'll go look for someone else. After Hong Luan had finished speaking, she entered West Spirit Academy, escorted by a group of people. Walking beside her was a man in his 20s. He was also the person in charge of Hong Luan's small group. Speaking of which, the Hong Luan from 5 years ago had a domineering and cold temperament. As long as someone caught her eye, she would definitely fight them. If one did not agree to her request, she would definitely pester you until you fought with her. Hence, based on Hong Luan's temperament, she would not interact with the students of the academy, much less accept a group of subordinates. That year, it was this man named Zhang Mo who was attracted to Hong Luan and became her follower. He had even single-handedly established Hong Luan's faction. Unfortunately, ever since Hong Luan had left West Spirit Academy, she had never met them again. They had only exchanged letters. Hong Luan, are you here to look for Yun Luofeng? We've only just arrived. I wonder if Yun Luofeng has arrived at the academy. Zhang Mo scratched the back of his head and chuckled. 5 years ago, there was no one in West Spirit Academy who did not know of Yun Luofeng's existence. However, the difference was that the current West Spirit Academy did not know what Yun Luofeng looked like. Looking for Yun Luofeng is one of the reasons. The second reason is that something seems to have happened in West Spirit Academy. As a student of the academy, I cannot just sit back and do nothing. Whoosh! Just as Hong Luan was walking along the winding path of the academy, a group of people suddenly surged out from the front, blocking the path. Hong Luan's brows unconsciously furrowed. These are the students of the academy. I wonder what they're doing here. Zhang Mo looked at the group of people surging out and frowned. You're Hong Luan? the number one on the heaven list 5 years ago. Suddenly, a joyful voice came from the crowd. In an instant, the crowd dispersed, and a sweet-looking girl walked out from the back of the crowd. What's the matter? Seeing that they were students of West Spirit Academy, Hong Luan's tone was not too harsh. Even though she had used West Spirit Academy as her hiding place, her feelings for the academy remained in her heart. Senior sister Hong Luan. A sweet smile appeared on Olan's face. Have you heard of my elder brother, Fei? Hong Luan's eyes revealed a hint of suspicion. I don't know him. You don't know him? How is that possible? Olan cried out in surprise. Her brother's reputation in the academy was so strong that many people outside of the academy had heard of him. Logically speaking, Hong Luan, who was once a student of the West Spirit Academy, should know him better. But she claimed that she didn't know him? It must be because of her dignity. As a woman, it was impossible for her to casually admit that she admired a man. That must be it. Pucci, Zhang Shudong, who had been watching the show from within the crowd, could not help but mock Olan when she heard her scream. Do you really think that everyone knows your brother? Senior sister Hong Luan was once the number one on the heaven list. Whether it's talent, strength, or family background, she's better than your brother. Besides, you're holding onto senior sister Hong Luan's path. Don't tell me you want her to be your sister-in-law? Chapter 1774. Since Zhang Xia dared to say something like that, it must not be groundless. She had heard from Olan that only Yun Luofeng or Hong Luan was worthy of Fei. Therefore, she had indeed said that in front of Hong Luan on purpose. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, the people around Hong Luan shot daggers at Olan with sharp gazes. Olan's expression froze for a moment before returning to normal. She laughed awkwardly. Senior sister Hong Luan, it's fine if you don't know my brother. I can introduce him to you. Not only is he handsome, but he's also very talented. He's only 26 years old this year, but he's already broken through to become a celestial spirit warrior and ranked 3rd on the heaven leaderboard. Hong Luan did not care about Zhang Xia's words at first. The two of them seemed to be enemies, so it was possible that they were trying to frame her. However, Hong Luan understood the meaning behind Olan's words as soon as she opened her mouth. Her beautiful face turned cold unwittingly. I remember that I was only 20 years old 5 years ago, but I was already ranked 1st on the heaven leaderboard. Yun Luofeng was only 18 years old back then, but he was already on par with me. So, is it very impressive that your brother has only become a celestial spirit warrior at the age of 26? Olan's face darkened. What did Hong Luan mean? Was she looking down on her brother? Senior sister Hong Luan, my brother's talent is really not bad. It's just that he wasn't born well. If he was born well, his achievements would be unparalleled. In other words, so what if Hong Luan was powerful? Wasn't it because he was born well? If Fei was born well, he would definitely be more powerful than Hong Luan. Zhang Xia snickered. How dare this woman say something like that in front of Hong Luan? Did she not know how to spell the word death? Suddenly, Olan felt a powerful force attack her, causing her body to tremble. She broke out in cold sweat as if a huge mountain was pressing down on her, causing her face to turn extremely pale. Just as she was about to give in, the pressure suddenly disappeared. Her body relaxed, and she sat on the ground with a thud, panting heavily. Hong Luan withdrew her gaze. Let's go. All right. Zhang Mo looked at Olan sympathetically. Fortunately, Hong Luan's temper was not as bad as before. Otherwise, Olan would have been crushed into pieces. Lanner. Just as Hong Luan took a step forward, an anxious voice came from the front. Soon, an elegant young master in a brocade robe walked to Olan's side quickly. His eyes were filled with heartache. What happened? Who dares to touch my sister in West Spirit Academy? As he spoke, his gaze swept across the surroundings before finally stopping on Hong Luan. Did you touch my sister? Could it be that you don't know what this place is? Who gave you the guts? Hong Luan stopped in her tracks and her lips curled into a seductive smile. So what if it was me? Even if I were to kill her, no one would dare to say no. Some time ago, Fei had been in seclusion and had rushed over to find Olan the moment he came out. Only then did he realize that Olan was being bullied. Therefore, he did not know that Hong Luan had returned. In this West Spirit Academy, I may be ranked third, but even the top two would not dare to not give me face. Fei stood up. If you want to survive in West Spirit Academy, you better kowtow and apologize to my sister. With a swoosh, he opened his folding fan and looked at Hong Luan arrogantly. Chapter 1775. Brother. Olan panicked and tugged on Fei's sleeve. She's the sister-in-law I found for you, don't? She accidentally blurted out the words in her heart. After she blurted it out, she suddenly realized and hurriedly covered her mouth. Sister-in-law? Fei frowned, glanced at Hong Luan, then looked at Olan. Even though she's very beautiful, I'm not such a shallow person. Only those with great talent are worthy of me. Hong Luan was so angry that she laughed. She raised her hand to stop Zhang Mo and the others, then turned to look at Fei. Her pair of phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Then, what kind of person do you think is worthy of you? Fei's eyes flashed with disgust. As expected, this woman was his admirer. Otherwise, she would not have asked such a shameless question. Miss, in the current academy, there is no one who is worthy of me. If there is, it would only be the first on the heavenly rankings 5 years ago. Only a genius like that is worthy of me. So, don't daydream. I will never like you. In reality, the reason why Olan felt that only Yun Luofeng and Hong Luan were worthy of Fei was because of what Fei had said. As for why he did not mention Yun Luofeng now, that was because Yun Luofeng was already married. He could not chase after someone who was no longer pure. Those with impure bodies were not worthy of him. The heaven list number 1 5 years ago? The person you're talking about, is her name Hong Luan? Hong Luan's face lit up with a smile as she asked slowly. The surrounding people did not speak. They all had the attitude of watching a good show. Brother. Olan cried out in shock. She wanted to say something, but Fei did not give her a chance to speak and had already interrupted her. That's right. The person I'm talking about is called Hong Luan. Only a woman like her is the person I'll pursue my entire life. It's impossible for me to fall for someone like you. Thus, I advise you to give up on that thought as soon as possible. Zhang Mo and the others were already burning with anger. If it was not for Hong Luan stopping them, they would have gone up to him and beat him up. Hong Luan smiled. Her smile was beautiful and moving, like a blooming rose. It carried a dangerous aura. Fei was a little dumbfounded. He didn't understand why he was laughing at this time. Could it be that his rejection had caused her to suffer a great deal of shock? My apologies. The smile in Hong Luan's eyes deepened. She crossed her arms and said, I am the number 1 on the heaven roll, Hong Luan. At that moment, Fei's expression froze, and his breathing quickened. He looked at Olan with an ashen face. She's Hong Luan. Olan nodded helplessly. Why didn't you say so earlier? Fei was so angry that he wanted to find a hole to hide in. He had just said that this woman was not worthy of him and that only Hong Luan was worthy of him. But she had told him that she was Hong Luan. Brother, I wanted to tell you, but you didn't let me. Olan felt wronged. She clearly wanted to tell him about this, but he didn't let her. Fei felt the mocking gazes around him and his face turned even paler. He had already predicted that after today, he would become the laughingstock of West Spirit Academy. Zhang Mo, let's go. We'll make a trip to the elder's office first. Then we'll look for Yun Luofeng. The elders will definitely know where she is. Hong Luan turned around, too lazy to bother with these people, and left on her own. Chapter 1776. Zhang Mo's cold gaze swept across the Fei siblings, a trace of contempt flashing across his eyes. Such a coward. How could he be worthy of Hong Luan? Looking at Hong Luan and the others leaving, Fei heaved a sigh of relief. He said such words in front of Hong Luan, afraid that she would find trouble with him. Luckily, Hong Luan ignored him. Brother! Seeing that Fei was about to leave, Olan anxiously shouted, I still need your help with something. Fei stopped in his tracks and frowned. Because of you, I offended Hong Luan, and you even made me lose the chance to pursue her. You want me to help with something, will you harm me again? Brother, don't worry. This matter will not harm you. The person I want to trouble is only a freshman. Freshman? These two words made Fei heave a sigh of relief. Just a freshman in this West Spirit Academy, wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wanted? Who asked you to be my sister, under the condition that it doesn't harm me? I can help you? Hearing Fei's words, a smile appeared on Lan's face. She had just been bullied in front of Hong Luan. At this time, she definitely had to find someone to vent her anger on. That freshman was obviously the best choice at this moment. The Fei siblings did not know that in Lan's heart, the girl who was regarded as a freshman was someone they could not afford to provoke in this lifetime. And because of this misunderstanding, they made a mistake that they would regret for the rest of their lives. Have you heard? Senior Hong Luan, who ranked first on the heaven list 5 years ago, has returned to the academy. TSK, I know about this. I heard that senior brother Fei and senior Hong Luan had a dispute. At that time, a friend of mine happened to be there and witnessed it with his own eyes. Actually, compared to this matter, I'm more concerned about another matter. Do you know Elder Hu Li? He's the youngest and most monstrous elder in our academy. I know, what about it? 2 days ago, 2 freshmen came to the academy. These 2 freshmen are extremely good-looking, and they even know Elder Hu Li. However, the 2 freshmen are husband and wife. Elder Hu Li and the man are brothers, but at the same time, the woman is his lover. How? How is this possible? If that's the case, isn't Elder Hu Li flirting? Are you sure this is true? It must be true. Someone personally heard what senior sister Zhang Xia said. He even claimed that senior sister Zhang Xia saw that woman and Elder Hu Li in the forest. It must be true. In the academy, a group of people were discussing animatedly. However, when they felt a cold, murderous gaze behind them, they were instantly shocked. They hurriedly turned around and saw a man in a black robe standing behind them with a cold expression on his face. His gaze was too terrifying, so terrifying that it made people's hearts tremble. Hong Luan has returned to West Spirit Academy? Yun Luofeng was a little surprised. Why didn't Hong Luan tell her about this? Zhang Xia? Who is she? Murderous intent appeared in Yun Zhao's black eyes as he tightly pursed his thin lips. The aura from his body was like a monstrous wave that overflowed the heavens, terrifying to the extreme. Anyone who slandered Yun Luofeng deserved to die. Just at this moment, the sound of footsteps could be heard from the front. Yun Luofeng gently raised his brows and raised his eyes to look at the people who were quickly walking towards them under the lead of a man and a woman. Brother, it's this woman? Olan pointed at Yun Luofeng and said, she deliberately seduced Elder Hu Li because she didn't want to participate in the freshman trials. Even a married woman like her would commit such an immoral act. She should be killed immediately. Olan raised her chin. As she spoke, her eyes were fixed on Yun Xiao. Chapter 1777. At this moment, quite a number of people had gathered around them. Olan felt the gazes of those people and unconsciously raised his chin even higher. Is what Olan said true? Fei's eyes sank, and his warm face revealed a wisp of coldness. Elder Hu Li actually did such a thing? It looks like West Spirit Academy has been destroyed by Hu Li after all. From Fei's words, everyone could hear his disdain and contempt towards Hu Li. Before Hu Li had returned to the academy, he was the most sought-after student in the academy. But when Hu Li had appeared, most of the girls who had been chasing after him had turned their gazes towards him. This made him very angry. Hu Li only had a face that was more seductive than a woman's. Apart from that, what else could he have that could compare to him? Oh right, Hu Li had entered West Spirit Academy before him. Otherwise, he would definitely be below him. But it doesn't matter. Once he graduates from the academy, his achievements will definitely surpass Hu Li. Yun Zhao's stern gaze shifted from Olan to Fei. At this moment, Fei felt his breathing stop, as if a hand was squeezing his heart tightly, making it hard for him to breathe. It was as if his heart would be crushed in an instant. Such an intense pain made Fei's face turn pale and a trace of fear appeared in his eyes. Didn't Lan say that these two were only freshmen? How could freshmen have such powerful abilities? Speak! Who started this rumor? The man's voice was low and cold, but there was an irrepressible rage in it. Yun Luofeng merely leaned lazily against a tree and watched everything in front of her quietly, as if everything had nothing to do with her. Lan had thought that this woman would definitely be furious and anxious after the rumor spread. Who would have thought that she would remain calm, and the smile on her lips seemed to be mocking her? This isn't a rumor. Lan's anger soared to the sky, her jealous eyes staring fixedly at Yun Luofeng. It was Zhang Xia who saw her having an affair with Hu Li. Don't be deceived by this woman. A slut like her is not worthy. Bang! When Yun Xiao heard Lan's slandering of Yun Luofeng, her eyes turned cold. She raised her hand to create a hurricane and sent Lan's body flying. The entire academy was silent. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Lan was a disciple on the Earth rankings, but this new student defeated her with just a raise of his hand? In fact, Lan wasn't just defeated. Her body was in great pain, as if a ball of fire was burning her internal organs. It was so painful that her face turned pale and she broke out in cold sweat. What was even more shocking was that Yun Xiao was a man after all. As a man, was it appropriate for him to attack a woman without any grace? Moreover, they were the ones who were unreasonable in the first place. They had done something wrong, so how could they not allow others to talk about it? I've never seen such a thing. An anxious voice came from behind the crowd. Zhang Xia ran over in a hurry and looked nervous. I didn't see her sleeping with other men. I didn't spread these rumors. Lan's face darkened. Logically speaking, her brother wouldn't be able to stand by and watch her being bullied like this. Why wasn't there any movement from him? But now, she had no choice but to release the arrow. So, she endured the pain and stood up. Zhang Xia, I know you denied it because you were afraid of this young master's strength. However, the rumor was indeed spread by you. I'm just here to get rid of a scourge for the academy. Chapter 1778. Zhang Xia pointed angrily at Lan. You framed me. Framed? So what? Lan sneered. Even if the academy were to pursue the matter, it would be Zhang Xia's responsibility, and the person who Li would hate would be her. What are you all doing? Suddenly, an angry shout came from behind them. Everyone turned their heads to look and saw Hu Li rushing over with a red-clothed woman following beside him. Lan's expression changed when he saw the lady in red. Hong Luan, why is she here? Fei, what do you want? Hu Li saw that these people dared to surround Yun Luofeng and was enraged. His fox eyes were filled with a cold, murderous intent. Elder Hu Li, it's like this. Zhang Xia was afraid that Hu Li would hate her, so she quickly told her about the recent rumors. In the end, she added, please believe me, I really didn't do it. Good, very good. Hu Li was so angry that he laughed. How dare you spread such rumors? Aren't you afraid that you won't even know how you died? In the academy, due to Fei's strength, he had many lackeys behind him. These lackeys were the same as him. They did not approve of Hu Li taking up the position of an elder at such a young age. Coupled with Fei's outstanding talent, he never thought that he was inferior to Hu Li. Therefore, even if he was facing Hu Li, he would not take him seriously. Elder Hu Li, can you explain why these two newcomers didn't participate in the trial? Besides, someone saw that you know each other. If it wasn't for the fact that you have an improper relationship, why would this happen? Up until now, no one noticed that something was wrong with Fei. Fei opened his mouth to speak but found that under that imposing manner, he could not utter a single word. He could only stand on the spot anxiously. In the beginning, he indeed did not take Yun Xiao seriously. When Yun Xiao made his move, he knew that this man was not someone they could afford to offend. Unfortunately, he could not speak and could not stop the crowd at all. Newcomers. Hong Luan smiled. Her smile was full of sarcasm as her seductive eyes swept over the Fei siblings. You actually said that these two are newcomers? Lan had a bad feeling the moment Hong Luan appeared. Who knew that Hong Luan's words would stun Lan on the spot? Was he wrong? Are they not new students these 2 days? Ha ha ha! Success! Success! Just as Hong Luan was about to walk towards Yun Luofeng, a wild laughter suddenly came over. Everyone looked up in surprise and saw Void, who was covered in gray cannons, running over quickly. Void! Void Elder, why is he here? Little Yun, Ghost Emperor, we finally opened up that space. You can go now. Su Kong's face was filled with excitement. He immediately realized that the atmosphere here was a little off. He was startled. What happened? Olan's eyes widened in shock. She looked at the void in front of Yun Luofeng in disbelief. Wait a minute. He had just addressed this woman as Yun Las. That cold and handsome man was called Ghost Emperor? How? How is this possible? Olan took a few steps back, her face pale. The Ghost Emperor, the young master of the Jun family, the husband of Yun Luofeng. If that's the case, this woman in white is the legendary figure of the 7 continents, Yun Luofeng? Olan bit her lips tightly as her entire body trembled. How could this woman be Yun Luofeng? Chapter 1779. The person whose influence was so great that even the continent lords of several continents feared her? The woman who could make the entire mainland tremble with just a stomp of her foot? I actually offended her and even have delusions about the Ghost Emperor? What exactly happened? Su Kong frowned slightly and a cold light flashed across his eyes. He glanced to the side and saw Zhang Xia, who was standing in front of Hu Li. He said in a low voice, "You tell me." His tone was serious and it made Zhang Xia tremble. She quickly repeated what she had said to Hu Li. Su Kong's expression darkened bit by bit. Since you said that you weren't the one who spread these rumors, then who was it? His voice was filled with murderous intent. That's right. At this moment, Su Kong was indeed filled with murderous intent. Those who dared to slander his disciple deserved to die 1,000 times over. In fact, this matter is already very obvious. Yun Luofeng's body straightened up from the tree trunk, his eyes faintly glancing at the Fei siblings. Whoever comes looking for trouble is the one who spread the rumors. In the crowd, Xia Ling, who was originally hiding inside, saw that the situation was not good and wanted to escape. At this moment, she was cursing Olan over and over again in her heart. This idiot really could not hold back at all. If she had come looking for trouble with Yun Luofeng later, she would not have exposed herself. If it was not for the sake of obtaining Fei, she really would not have been willing to give her any ideas. No, it wasn't me. Olan met Yun Luofeng's gaze and a sense of fear emerged in her heart. She suddenly saw Xia Ling, who was about to leave, and bit her lip. It was Xia Ling. She was the one who spread the rumors. I wanted to stop her, but she refused to listen to me. This matter really has nothing to do with me. Xia Ling's face turned green at that moment and she glared at Olan angrily. Soon after, she felt Su Kong's sharp gaze and hurriedly stopped in her tracks. She knelt down in front of Yun Luofeng. Miss Yun, Olan forced me to do this. I had no choice but to do it. Please let me go, I'm innocent. Innocent? Yun Luofeng smiled. Do you really think that you're innocent? Her black eyes carried a deep light as if she could see through everything. Seeing her gaze, Xia Ling's legs weakened and she fell to the ground. She knew that this time, she was finished. Idiot! Fei suddenly felt that his body could finally move. He quickly ran in front of Olan and slapped her. You dare to offend anyone. This time, I'm doomed because of you. You've caused me to be in such a miserable state. When we return to the clan, father and mother will definitely not forgive you. Olan's lips twitched, her face filled with despair. The O clan was a patriarchal clan. Moreover, her elder brother was the hope of the entire clan. All these years, if it wasn't for her brother's love, she would have lived a life worse than a servant. However, if her parents knew that she had harmed her brother, they would definitely not forgive her easily. From now on, you will no longer be students of the academy. Su Kong coldly stroked his sleeves. Hu Li passed down the order. The O siblings have offended the Yun girl. In the future, if anyone dares to have any dealings with the O clan, they will be hunted down by the major forces of the mainland. Fei's eyes flashed with panic. If he was merely expelled from the academy with his talent, he wouldn't be doing too badly. Now, if anyone were to find out that he had offended Yun Luofeng, no one would give him another chance. Elder Sukong. Fei hurriedly knelt down. As the saying goes, the ignorant are not guilty. I didn't know that she was Yun Luofeng. Please forgive me on account of my ignorance. Chapter 1780. You think you can be forgiven just because you don't know? Sukong coldly said, I didn't know you used your reputation as a disciple on the heaven roll to do evil. How dare you slander an elder of the academy? You don't know Miss Yun's identity? But don't you know Hu Li is an elder? If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know what pain is. Besides, just the fact that his sister slandered Yun Luofeng was enough for him to punish her severely. Drive them out of the academy? Yun Xiao coldly glanced at Fei and his sister. That's letting them off too easily. Fei and his sister's expressions greatly changed. Not only did the academy expel them, but it also spread the news, cutting off all the family's escape routes. And he said it was letting them off too easily? Ghost Emperor, what do you want? Sukong turned to Yun Xiao and asked, his voice no longer as cold as before. Let them be trash for life. The man's voice was cold and ruthless, like a sharp sword that ruthlessly pierced into Olan's heart. Olan panicked. Are you still a man? In any case, I'm a peerless beauty. How could you do such a cruel thing to me without any grace? Yun Xiao pursed his thin lips. In my eyes, other than Feng there is no gender difference between others. You! Olan's heart was filled with jealousy. Why did such an excellent and infatuated man not belong to her? You're too vicious. I only slandered her a little, and you want to cripple me? Yes. The man answered in all seriousness. On the contrary, Olan's body softened and she sat on the ground with despair on her face after hearing this word. Hong Luan crossed her arms and raised her red lips. If you want to use your advantage as a woman to soften Yun Zhao's heart, then you're sorely mistaken. What I can tell you is that on their way here, there were many women who harbored ill intentions toward Yun Xiao, but these women never bothered Yun Luofeng because Yun Xiao would deal with them himself. Olan bit her lips tightly. Any woman will be attracted to a strong, handsome, and devoted man like you. I know that I can't get through this today. I only hope that I can meet a man like you in my next life. You're wrong. Hong Luan smiled. Even if you have an afterlife and meet a man as outstanding as Yun Xiao, what qualifications do you have to make him fall in love with you? Yun Xiao is outstanding because Yun Luofeng is also outstanding. They are attracted to each other, so he can only find someone who is similar to him. Many people believed that a woman didn't need to be strong enough. She only needed to find a strong person to protect her. You're too weak, so what right do you have to attract the attention of the strong? For a moment, everyone fell silent. They suddenly felt that they shouldn't pursue things that didn't belong to them. Instead, they should work hard to improve themselves so that they could attract outstanding people. Sukong glanced at Hong Luan gratefully. How could he not understand that Hong Luan was deliberately saying this to all the students present? He believed that after today, the atmosphere of the academy would be much better, and no one would cause any more trouble. Bang! Suddenly, Fei felt a pain in his body, and his meridians seemed to be broken. He spat out a mouthful of blood and collapsed to the ground. So did Olan and Xiaoling. Without any chance to resist, they had been turned into trash in front of everyone's eyes. Come on! Throw these people out of the academy! Sukong waved his hand and ordered sternly, if such a thing happens again in the future, I won't tolerate it. Chapter 1781. The crowd held their breaths, not daring to speak. Clearly, Elder Sukong's words had raised everyone's guard. No one dared to make the same mistake again. As for Olan, was she worthy of sympathy? If she had not dared to covet something that did not belong to her and offended Yun Luofeng, she would not have ended up like this. Even Fei reaped what he sowed. The space has been opened? Yun Luofeng raised his brows. Then let's go. All right. Sukong did not look at these people again and led Yun Luofeng to the elder's room. As they left, the crowd burst into loud cheers. Everyone watched Yun Luofeng and Yun Zhao's departing silhouettes with eyes full of longing and worship. Inside the elders' room, the elders had been waiting there for a long time. Perhaps the opening of the space had exhausted all their spiritual energy. Their faces were pale as they sat on their chairs, panting heavily. "Little Yun, we've successfully opened the space. You can go in now," Shuang sighed. "No matter what, you must be careful. Don't worry, I'll come back alive." Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao looked at each other and saw the determination in each other's eyes. "Oh right." She seemed to have thought of something and turned to look at Hong Luan. "Hong Luan, what are you doing here?" "I'm a student of West Spirit Academy after all. I'm worried about West Spirit Academy, so I came to take a look." After saying this, Hong Luan took out an item from her bosom and handed it to Yun Luofeng. "This is what the Phoenix clan asked me to bring to you." There was a flame-shaped fruit in Hong Luan's palm. The fruit looked like a ball of raging fire. "Phoenix fruit." Little Mo's joyful voice sounded from within Yun Luofeng's soul. "Master, this is a phoenix fruit." "Phoenix fruit? What's its use?" "The phoenix fruit can allow humans to be reborn like phoenixes. However, there are very few phoenixes that can be reborn, let alone this phoenix fruit." Little Mo's voice was clearly excited. Of course, if you pluck the phoenix fruit and plant it in the divine grimoire space, allowing the phoenix fruit to be filled with spiritual energy, even if a person has died, they can immediately be reborn. Gasp! Even Yun Luofeng couldn't help but gasp when he heard Little Mo's words. Even though she had the divine grimoire space, she could only regrow flesh and bones at most. On the contrary, it was very difficult to revive a dead person. A person had already lost his life force, so how could he be allowed to live? If she had this phoenix fruit, it would be equivalent to having another life. He didn't expect the Phoenix clan to have such a good thing. Hong Luan. Yun Luofeng took the phoenix fruit and looked up at the woman standing in front of him. "What do you plan to do next?" Hong Luan pondered for a moment, then said, "I want to continue going out to train and try to catch up to you as soon as possible." "All right." Yun Luofeng nodded, then turned around to face Su Kong and the others. "When do I leave?" "Right now." The void was silent for a moment before it continued. "However, I don't know what exactly is in this space. Be careful." After he finished speaking, Void was very worried for Zhong Zhong. Originally, they should have been the ones to take this risk, but now all the danger had fallen onto Yun Luofeng's shoulders. How could this group of old fellows be at ease? "Yun Xiao, let's go." Yun Luofeng slowly turned around to face Yun Xiao. His beautiful face was solemn. Chapter 1782. She knew that there were definitely many dangers in this space, but no matter what, she would come back alive. Yun Xiao held Yun Luofeng lightly, as if saying, "Everything depends on me." Hua! The elders silently chanted something, and a white light emerged from that space, instantly enveloping the two of them. It was also at that moment that Yun Luofeng lost consciousness. In a trance, she seemed to fall from the clouds, and her body felt weightless. Fortunately, this weightless feeling quickly disappeared, and a hazy light filled her eyes. Then, she slowly opened them. The sun was very dazzling, shining down from the void and pouring down on her body. She lay in the grass, her eyes wide open as she gazed at the azure sky. The sky was so blue. It was as if a layer of canvas had been laid out, and this sky was like a painting. Whether in her previous life or this life, Yun Luofeng had never seen such a blue sky, especially when this rich spiritual energy invaded her, entering her body through her pores, making her feel extremely comfortable. Yun Xiao. Suddenly, Yun Luofeng hurriedly stood up from the grass and looked around, but found that she was the only one in the empty grass. There was no sign of anyone else, and there was no man in her heart at that moment. If Yun Xiao was with me, she couldn't have left me behind and left. Could it be that when we entered the space, we went to different places? She frowned lightly. After a long while, she relaxed. With Yun Zhao's strength, she wouldn't have encountered any danger. As for me, since I'm here, I'll just take things as they come. Improving my own strength is the top priority. After saying this, she sat down cross-legged. Faint spiritual energy gathered from all directions, filling her body. To be honest, the spiritual energy here could not compare to the divine grimoire space. However, the spiritual energy in the divine grimoire space was born to cater to the needs of medicinal herbs. Compared to the spiritual energy that humans could absorb and break through, there were still some differences. Therefore, Yun Luofeng had started to cultivate in a hurry. Time passed by, and Yun Luofeng still sat on the mountain, unmoving like a mountain. The sky turned from its initial azure blue to somewhat dark, and there was even thunder and lightning within the gray clouds. Boom! Boom, boom, boom. Thunder and lightning instantly descended, and a bolt of heavenly lightning struck Yun Luofeng's body. Hiss! Yun Luofeng's expression changed. She gritted her teeth and said, "Little Mo, breaking through to half-step void realm will cause lightning calamity?" Why had she never heard of it? Little Mo had unknowingly appeared beside Yun Luofeng. He stared blankly at the lightning and thunder in the sky. "Master, this isn't half-step void realm. Half-step void realm can't cause such a huge commotion. Only when one breaks through to become a god will the heaven's retribution appear." How was this possible? Master was only a holy spirit, so how did he suddenly become a god? Half-step void? Did he just cross over? Even little Mo had never encountered such a situation before. Ancestral dragon blood essence. It must be because of the ancestral dragon's blood essence. Master, you have consumed the ancestral dragon's blood essence, so you can become a god without entering the half-step void realm. Quick! Summon the dragon scale armor. The dragon scale armor, other than the first time she used it, Yun Luofeng had never summoned it again. Who would have thought that she would summon the dragon scale armor at this time? Whoosh! Yun Luofeng no longer hesitated and instantly summoned his dragon scale armor. Chapter 1783. At that moment, Yun Luofeng's body was covered in dragon scales. It was as if she had put on a sturdy armor that shone brightly. Master, the dragon scale armor can only last for 15 minutes. You must hold on. The breakthrough of a deity was extremely difficult. If she was not careful, she would be turned into ashes by the heavenly tribulation. Boom! Another bolt of sky thunder struck Yun Luofeng's body. This heavenly lightning was much heavier than the previous ones. If it wasn't for the dragon scale armor, she might have been struck by the heavenly lightning and vomited blood. Little Mo, why didn't you tell me earlier that the ancestral dragon blood I consumed had such an effect? If she had known that she would become a deity directly, she would not have cultivated so blindly. She would have been fully prepared before breaking through. Little Mo felt wronged. You should blame Little Worm. He didn't tell me. I will drag him out of the divine grimoire and beat him up later. Because Little Worm had fallen into a deep sleep, Yun Xiao had left him in Yun Luofeng's space. That was why Little Mo had said that he would drag him out and beat him up. Unfortunately, Yun Luofeng was in so much pain that she could not even speak. Even with the protection of the dragon scale armor, she still felt as if all the bones in her body were falling apart. Boom! The lightning did not stop. One bolt after another landed on Yun Luofeng's body. Her body began to sway uncontrollably, but she forcefully held on with her willpower. No, something's wrong. Little Mo's expression changed. Master, there's something wrong with your heavenly tribulation. What's wrong? Yun Luofeng gritted his teeth and squeezed out these few words. When you break through to become a deity, the lightning that appears is closely related to your future achievements. For example, the more lightning you experience, the more powerful you are, and the more lightning you experience. Little Mo's lips trembled. Her eyes were filled with fear. However, as far as I know, the most powerful person in history only experienced 18 bolts of lightning. His achievements after that couldn't even be described as a genius. He was a complete monster. A bitter smile appeared on Yun Luofeng's face. I have already experienced 18 bolts of heavenly lightning. Master, based on your experience, there is only one possibility. Little Mo's heart sank. I know you may not believe me, but the heavenly way does exist on this mainland. You can see it from the heavenly lightning that appeared during your advancement. Now, the heavenly way clearly wants to strike you to death. Yun Luofeng was almost unable to hold on any longer. Her dragon-scale armor was also gradually dissipating. If the heavenly lightning did not end soon, perhaps she would be turned to ashes by this lightning tribulation. No, no, she absolutely could not die under the lightning tribulation. It wasn't easy for him to reach this step. How could he be willing to be struck to death by heavenly lightning? Little Mo was worried. Master, if I'm not wrong, it's your future achievements that even the heavenly axiom is afraid of. He was afraid that you would go against the heavens, so he wanted to kill you before you grew up. Heavenly law? Yun Luofeng sneered and stood up from the ground. Her eyes were filled with arrogance and arrogance. Her domineering voice echoed throughout the forest. So what if it's the heavenly Tao? I, Yun Luofeng, want to go against the heavens. If you have the guts, strike me to death now. If I don't die one day, I will destroy the heavenly axiom. My fate is up to me, not the heavens. Even if the heavenly axiom really existed on this mainland, she did not believe it. Chapter 1784. If he really wanted her to die, then she would defy the heavens. Boom! The thunder roared fiercely and struck down. Yun Luofeng's body trembled, but she stood firmly on the ground like a bamboo tree, unmoving. No matter how the lightning struck, she stood proudly with her head held high. She would not admit defeat in the face of the heavenly Tao that everyone on this continent feared. Even in death, she would not yield to the so-called heavenly Tao. It was as if the woman's strong conviction made the lightning not as powerful as before, but made people feel a trace of fear. Yes, the heavenly Tao was afraid. Little Mo was dumbfounded. He did not think that Yun Luofeng's words would scare the lightning, but just as the sound of the heavenly thunder became softer and softer and softer and softer, a dragon's roar suddenly came from the souls of the two. Master, Little Worm is awake. Little Mo was overjoyed and quickly released Little Worm from the divine grimoire. But the moment he saw the little worm, his expression suddenly changed. Little Worm, are you breaking through? Little Mo's voice was full of fear. This little thing could have broken through at any time. Why did it have to break through now? Thinking of this, he hurriedly shouted, Master! Get out of the way, hurry! Yun Luofeng had just reacted when he saw that the lightning, which had weakened previously, grew stronger again. Thunder roared and a bolt of lightning struck down towards Little Worm. Whoosh! As Yun Luofeng was very close to the little worm, this bolt of lightning also affected her. She felt a sharp pain in her internal organs and her beautiful face paled. At this moment, the dragon-scale armor's time was up and it disappeared from Yun Luofeng's body. Previously, she could deal with the lightning by relying on the dragon-scale armor. Now that the dragon-scale armor was gone, she could not force herself to continue. Master, quick, use the puppet. Little Mo's anxious voice sounded in Yun Luofeng's ear. Yun Luofeng did not hesitate and hurriedly summoned azure wings. Yun Yi understood Yun Luofeng's order and used his bronze-like body to meet the lightning. Boom! Boom, boom, boom! The heavenly thunder quickly struck down with great power. When it struck Yun Yi's body, it was as if it had landed on a hard iron wall, making loud thumping sounds. The little worm had long been so frightened by the lightning that it hugged its head and curled up behind Yun Luofeng. Its fearful eyes glanced at the lightning in the sky as it continued to mutter to itself. This isn't right. There's something wrong with this heavenly lightning. I've seen the heavenly lightning when others broke through to the godly spirit level. None of them were this powerful. Why is this heavenly lightning so powerful? I was almost scared to death. The corners of Yun Luofeng's mouth twitched. He ignored the little worm's resentment and quietly looked at Yun Yi. Little Mo, what's going on? Yun Luofeng turned to Little Mo and asked. Although Azure Wings was in a sorry state under the heavenly lightning, his originally damaged body actually began to gradually recover under the lightning tribulation. I don't know either. Can the sky thunder become the puppet's nourishment? Little Mo was stunned. When he had asked Yun Luofeng to summon Azure Wings, he had planned to use this puppet as a shield to block the heavenly lightning. Who would have thought that the heavenly lightning could also become the puppet's nourishment? Yun Luofeng's face darkened. So all those heavenly lightning just now were for nothing? Little Mo smiled embarrassedly. You can't blame me for this. You can only blame Zhu Qian. He was the one who taught you the puppet-making technique, but he didn't explain this. You should go and settle the score with him. I'm innocent. Chapter 1785. Yun Luofeng no longer looked at Xiao Mo and turned towards Yunyi again. The heavenly lightning was enraged and struck with even greater force. However, as the heavenly lightning grew stronger, Yunyi's body also became more powerful. Then, Yunyi was a low-level Holy Spirit previously, but he suddenly broke through. Intermediate Holy Spirit, Advanced Holy Spirit, half-step to Void Realm. Then, he entered a realm that no one could reach in their entire lives, God. As Yunyi was a puppet, he did not attract the lightning tribulation when he broke through to become a god. Otherwise, he could make use of the lightning tribulation to break through again. The heavenly lightning knew that it could not do anything to Yunyi, so its power gradually weakened and finally disappeared. The entire sky was calm and returned to a pure blue once again. The blue was so beautiful that it looked like it had been dyed with ink. At the same time, Yun Luofeng felt that her body had entered a new area. Due to the sudden change and the injuries she had just suffered, she could not bear it in the end. Her mind went dark and she fainted. At this moment, Yun Luofeng did not know how much of a commotion his breakthrough had caused in this space. All the forces were mobilized just to find the person who had attracted such a powerful heavenly tribulation. Young master, there's someone here. A surprised voice suddenly rang out in the forest. Then, a young man walked out from the front. When he saw the scene before him, his eyes were filled with shock. There was a white-robed woman lying in a deep pit. She was covered in wounds and her face was deathly pale. In a radius of 100 miles around her, there was nothing left. It was as if she had been struck by lightning. Everything was scorched. This lady must have been affected by the heavenly lightning just now. The young man thought for a moment and said, "Fortunately, the heavenly lightning was not targeting her. Otherwise, she would have been smashed into pieces." The young man thought for a moment and continued, "Bring her back first. Since she's here, she must have seen the person who broke through." "Young master, why are you so sure that she was not the one who broke through?" a follower asked doubtfully. The young man laughed. "Although I know that the heavenly tribulation has alarmed everyone and some people have even gone out to search for the person who broke through, do you think anyone could have survived the heavenly lightning?" The follower said, "Young master is indeed wise. Indeed, under that kind of heavenly lightning, it is impossible for anyone to survive. Those who broke through must have been crushed to pieces. Let's go. Let's bring her back and get Dr. Lin to take a look at her injuries." "Young master." The attendant looked seriously at the beautiful girl lying on the ground. "Don't you feel that this girl is very similar to young master's master?" The youth was startled, and his gaze became a little dazed. "Master isn't from this place. She came from another mainland. It's said that she almost died on the battlefield. When she was fleeing for her life, she accidentally opened up this space, causing her to be trapped here. Therefore, it's impossible for this girl to be related to Master. Also," the young man paused, "Master has lost her memory. She only saw these things in her dreams. As for her name or any relatives, she doesn't remember them. Let's bring her back first." He frowned and walked in front of the woman. A stunned look flashed across his eyes, but he still picked up the woman from the ground and walked in the direction he had come from. Chapter 1786. In the noisy town, there was a courtyard house that was very quiet. On the large bed, the woman slowly opened her eyes. What she saw was an unfamiliar environment. She rubbed her throbbing temples and frowned slightly. "I remember fainting in the bushes. Why am I here?" "Master." Little Mo's childish voice came from his soul. "When you fainted, I wanted to take you away, but someone else came. The people here are different from the 7 continents, so it's very likely that they would discover my true identity. So, when I didn't feel any hostility from them, I went back to the divine grimoire. If little Mo's identity was discovered, the divine grimoire of medicine would be exposed. This was why little Mo chose to hide first. But little Mo paused and continued. I eavesdropped on those people's conversation and heard that the man's master looks like you. Yun Luofeng's heart trembled. Looks like me. Little Mo was silent. After a while, she asked, So, what I want to ask you is, are you sure Bai Ling is dead? I heard them say that the woman who looks like you came from another place and accidentally opened up this space from the battlefield. That's why she's trapped here. Bai Ling and Yun Yang had met danger on the battlefield and their souls had returned here. This was also why little Mo asked this question. Yun Luofeng shook his head. If she's my mother, then whose bones are in the Yun family's ancestral grave? If she's not dead, grandfather wouldn't think that she's dead. It's because of those bones that he concluded that Bai Ling is dead. Maybe I'm really thinking too much, little Mo said helplessly. At this moment, the door was pushed open and a woman in a long green dress walked in. When she saw Yun Luofeng who had awakened, she said rudely, You're awake. If there's nothing else wrong with your body, you can leave now. Shiyu. Just as the woman finished speaking, a young man's childish voice came from behind her. It was obvious that he was dissatisfied. This lady has just recovered. How can you chase her away now? This is not the way to treat a guest. Shiyu's expression changed slightly, and her gaze towards Yun Luofeng became even more furious. Looking at this woman's inexplicable hostility, Yun Luofeng was puzzled. He did not seem to have provoked her. Lady, are you all right? The young man walked slowly towards Yun Luofeng, a bashful smile on his handsome face. If you don't mind, you can stay with us for a while and recuperate. If it had been in the past, Yun Luofeng would have rejected the young man's suggestion. But now, she was a newcomer to this place, and before she had a clear understanding of the situation, she couldn't just barge in. Young master. Shiyu bit her lip and wanted to say something, but at this moment, the youth's cold eyes swept over and interrupted her. She could only suppress the grievances in her heart and stare angrily at Yun Luofeng. Mississippi. The youth ignored Shiyu and turned to Yun Luofeng. My name is Chisu. I haven't asked for your name yet. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. Yun Luofeng. Miss Maple, you should rest well now. If there's anything you need, you can look for me in the front hall. Chisu smiled and glanced at Shiyu. Shiyu, come with me. Chapter 1787. After saying this, he walked out of the door without saying anything. Shiyu was very unwilling, but she still followed Chisu out in the end. Master. After everyone left, little Mo's voice was heard again. You've just broken through. Take this time to consolidate your cultivation base. Also, I'll tell you about the levels after deity. After the half-step void realm, you'll become a deity. To become a deity, you'll need to go through heaven's retribution. The more heavenly lightning you endure, the more prominent your achievements will be. More importantly, as long as you endure that much heavenly lightning, you'll definitely benefit a lot in the future. In particular, the more heavenly lightning one endured, the stronger the changes to one's body. You're now a deity. After that, there's still the heavenly God, ultimate God, emperor God, and true God. Little Mo paused before continuing. The levels after deity are different from before. There's no lower, middle, or higher levels. The next time you break through, you'll become a heavenly God. However, I can tell you that there were as many deities and heavenly gods as there were dogs on the mainland 10,000 years ago. Therefore, you still have a long way to go. After hearing little Mo's words, Yun Luofeng became silent. After a while, she slightly raised her head. The bright sunlight shone through the door and sprinkled on her face. No matter how long this path is, I'll keep going. I'll never give up. In the study room, Chi-Su looked at the woman who followed him in with a hint of helplessness on his handsome face. Shiyu, I've decided to let her stay. You don't have to worry about this. Master, Shiyu's expression changed. We can't even protect ourselves now. If we let her stay, she'll definitely drag us down. There's no point in saying more. You'd better go do your own thing. Chi-Su waved his hand and said, Yes. Shiyu bit her lip and took one last look at Chi Su before retreating. Yun Luofeng did not hear the conversation between the two. She was in the room consolidating her cultivation base when she saw a little radish head poking in from outside the door. It was a little lowly who looked like she was carved out of jade. Her big, watery eyes shone with a dazzling radiance. She looked at Yun Luofeng with a curious gaze, as if she wanted to enter the door but was afraid to do so. Yun Luofeng also sensed the little lowly. He unconsciously retracted his aura and asked, "Are you here to find me?" The little girl sucked on her finger and nodded slightly. "I heard that Big Brother brought back a beautiful big sister, so I came to have a look." "Big sister, my name is Qiling. What's your name?" Hearing this name, Yun Luofeng suddenly thought of Jun Linger. "I wonder if these people are doing well in the 7 continents. My name is Yun Luofeng." Yun Luofeng lowered his eyes. His gaze landed on the little lowly's tender little face, and the corners of his lips curled up. "Then can I call you Big Sister Yun?" The little lowly looked at Yun Luofeng with a pair of timid eyes. She looked expectant yet afraid of being rejected. Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed. "All right, but I have a few questions for you. What continent is this?" "Cloud Continent." The little lowly answered Yun Luofeng's question very seriously. "Then where are you guys from?" Yun Luofeng continued to ask. The little lowly bit her lips tightly. She moved her short legs and walked in through the door with a sad expression on her face. Chapter 1788. I am a member of the Qi family. My brother, Chi Su, is also a young master of the Qi family. She lowered her eyelids, concealing the sorrow in her eyes. But as a member of the Qi family, I am a good-for-nothing. In reality, Yun Luofeng had sensed that there was something wrong with the little lowly's body from the moment he saw her. So when he heard her say this, he did not feel much emotion. "The Qi family chased me out of the family and banished me to this backward town. My brother was also chased out in order to protect me." The little lowly's eyes were filled with tears. "Those people gave my brother a mission. They wanted him to expand the medicine shop in the town. Otherwise, they would not let us return to the Qi family." Yun Luofeng raised his brows. "I see that your brother is quite capable. Since that's the case, why don't you just expand the medicine shop?" The little lowly shook her head. "It's not that simple. The medicine shop needs the support of spiritual herbs. However, medicinal herbs can only evolve into spiritual herbs after 100 years. Unfortunately, the few great spiritual herb mountain ranges in the cloudy continent are all controlled by those forces. Ordinary people cannot obtain spiritual herbs." Yun Luofeng had long known that whether it was the spirit god continent or this space, it would not be easy to obtain spiritual herbs. Apart from needing 100 years, more importantly, one needed a specific opportunity to transform the medicinal herbs into spiritual herbs. This caused the supply of spiritual herbs to fall short of the demand. They said. The little lowly lowered her head and answered timidly, "If my brother cannot complete this mission, it will not be as simple as chasing us out of the house. They will sell me to someone else as a child bride." So, some time ago, my brother found a person who is willing to sell spiritual herbs and has recently pooled money to buy a stock of spiritual herb to use as the treasure of the medicine shop. Actually, spiritual herbs were not something that could not be bought in the cloudy continent. Unfortunately, all the mountain ranges that produced spiritual herbs had been monopolized by several forces. It was not that Chi Su had not thought of going to the medicine shop in the imperial city to buy a stock of spiritual herb. However, those medicine shops had received orders from the Qi family and would not sell spiritual herbs to him. That was also why Chi Su was in such a predicament. Now, Yun Luofeng finally understood why the maidservant named Shiyu was so hostile towards him. Chi Su was indeed in a predicament now. Yet, he had taken her in at this time. Wasn't this increasing their burden? Little spirit. Suddenly, an anxious voice came from outside the house. Qi Ling blinked. When she turned her head, she saw Chi Su hurriedly running in. "Little spirit, hide here. Don't come out no matter what." Qi Ling was stunned. Just as she was about to answer Chi Su's question, she heard a commotion coming from the front hall. Chi Su's expression was very ugly. He looked at Yun Luofeng and said, Miss Yun, please help me look after my sister. After that, he didn't look at Qi Ling anymore. Turned around and walked towards the front hall. Sister Yun. Qi Ling was a little scared as she curled up in a corner. It's the Qi family. It must be the Qi family again. Looking at Qi Ling's frightened little face, Yun Luofeng turned his gaze to the courtyard outside the house. His eyes slowly darkened. In the front hall, a young man who looked similar to Qi Su was sitting on a chair, gently sipping a cup of tea. He was a few years older than Qi Su, and his appearance was not as handsome as Qi Su's. Instead, it was more feminine. Chapter 1789. Qi Su, it's almost time. The young man smirked sinisterly. You're destined to fail. There's still a month left. How do you know that I'll fail? Qi Su sneered. His eyes were filled with coldness. Didn't your Qi family only dare to be so impudent when my master wasn't around? Back then, why didn't you dare to say a word when my master was around? Hee. The young man slowly stood up. His gaze was like a venomous snake that wrapped around Qi Su. Your master has been missing for 3 years. There's no news of him now. He's definitely dead. Don't expect him to stand up for you. Without him, you're nothing. Qi Su's face turned pale. His master had been missing for 3 years, and his fate was unknown. It was a pain in his heart. How could he not be angry now that he was exposed? Chiemo, I found someone to buy spiritual herbs recently. In a small place like Maplewood Town, as long as there's a spiritual herb in my medicine shop, it'll definitely be sold out within a month. Spiritual herb? Chiemo scoffed. Have you forgotten that the spiritual herbs in Drifting Wind Country are all controlled by our Qi family? You want to buy a spiritual herb? Dream on. Let me tell you, the spiritual herb you want to buy has already been bought by our Qi family. You're destined not to be able to get it. At that moment, Qi Su's body trembled and he almost fell to the ground. You're shameless. There's nothing too deceitful in war. Chiemo smiled. To tell you the truth, my initial thought was to sell that bitch Qi Ling to someone else as a child bride. However, to make you suffer even more, I'll make you send your sister here personally. Moreover, the person I helped her find is not only an old man in his 70s, but also a concubine. Qi Su's face was pale. He looked at Chiemo angrily. Xiao Ling is also a daughter of the Qi family. Don't you think you're going too far? Our Qi family doesn't have such trash. If you want to protect her, our Qi family can't do without you either. Chiemo said coldly. Qi Su closed his eyes slightly. His body trembled, and his face was filled with pain. Chiemo, you seem to have forgotten the status of the Qi family 10 years ago. Back then, the Qi clan was only a clan in a small city. Their status in the continent wasn't very high. It's all because of my master. She was the one who led the Qi family to its current position. Even the mountains controlled by the Qi family were all taken down by you. Thinking of the heavy past, Qi Su felt a wave of heartache. 3 years ago, when Master was still in the Qi family, all of you treated her with utmost respect and even showed great care and concern for Xiao Ling. After that, Master went to one of the most dangerous places on the mainland, the Nemesis Forest, in order to find medicine to cure Xiao Ling's body. She was gone for 3 years, and all of you thought that Master was dead, so your attitude towards us changed. Qi Su opened his eyes. His gaze was no longer as angry as before. Instead, it was calm, without a ripple of emotion. Not only did they chase us out of the Qi family, but they also want to sell Xiao Ling to someone else as a concubine. Ling was only 5 years old. Are you all so eager to sell her out? If Master had known that you were like this, he would never have led the Qi family to become strong. Facing Qi Su's accusations, Chiemo didn't look ashamed at all. Chapter 1790. Your master said that she'll be back in a year at most. If she comes back late, you don't have to look for her. This proves that she's definitely in danger. Chiemo glanced at Qi Su. So, don't try to use your master to threaten me. She can't protect you anymore. Qi Su pursed his lips. Are you done? If you're done, get lost. My master isn't dead, and she can't be dead. I'm only here to remind you that time is almost up. Also, Chi Mo sneered. The Chi family is powerful now because of your master. In order to make the Chi family your backer, she didn't hold back to increase the Chi family's strength. But so what? No matter how much she did, she was just stupid. The Chi family doesn't owe you anything. After saying that, Chi Mo flicked his sleeves and left. When he reached the door, he stopped and paused. Also, you don't have to hide Chi Ling. Since I said that I would sell her in a month, I will definitely fulfill my promise in a month. After saying that, he disappeared from Chi Su's sight without looking back. Young master. Shiyu walked forward and supported Chi Su's trembling body. Young master, are you all right? Chi Su grabbed Shiyu's arm tightly and his lips trembled. Shiyu, master will come back, right? Shiyu's heart tightened. Young master's master had gone to Nemesis Forest for 3 years. She must have been in danger. However, how could she say that to young master? Young master, she will definitely come back. Moreover, she is a person who keeps her promise. She once said that she would help Miss recover, so she will keep her promise. Chi Su smiled, but his pale face did not improve. That's right. Master is a person who keeps her promise. I just need to wait here for her. She will definitely come back. In the quiet dormitory, Chi Ling had been observing the commotion outside. When she heard the quarrel in the hall disappear, she heaved a sigh of relief. Those bad guys are finally gone. If Brother's master was still alive, they wouldn't dare to treat us like this. The little Loli's voice was soft and cute, making people feel comfortable just by listening to it. Chi Su's master? Yun Luofeng suddenly remembered little Mo's words. What kind of person is his master? Chi Ling tilted her head. I call Big Brother's master Aunt Yun. She looks a lot like you, Big Sister Yun. Aunt Yun? Surnamed Yun? If that girl's surname was Yun, then she shouldn't be related to Mother. After all, his mother was only the daughter-in-law of the Yun family, and her surname was Bai. Aunt Yun doesn't remember her own name, but she is wearing a bracelet with the word Yun carved on it. I can show you the bracelet. The little girl giggled as she took out a bracelet from her lapel and presented it to Yun Luofeng as if she was presenting a treasure. This was given to me by Aunt Yun when I was born. I have been keeping it well. Boom! When he saw the bracelet that the little Loli took out, Yun Luofeng's mind went blank. A scene appeared in her mind. In the scene, a girl was sitting in a room, smiling sweetly. On her wrist was a white jade bracelet, and she was talking softly to a man who was hugging her. That was her memory from before she was 4 years old. Logically speaking, memories from before the age of 4 should be very blurry. But Yun Luofeng did not understand why her childhood memories were so clear. Chapter 1791. She recognized the bracelet immediately. It was the token of love that Yun Yang had given to Bai Ling back then. Bai Ling had always worn it and had never taken it off. She's not dead. Were Yun Yang and Bai Ling still alive? Where did the 2 corpses in the Yun family's ancestral grave come from? Sister, do you also think that Aunt Yun is not dead? Little Lolita smiled charmingly and put away the bracelet. Her movements were very careful, afraid that she would accidentally break it. Big Brother also thinks that Aunt Yun is still alive, but everyone else says that she is already dead. Even the Chi family turned their backs on Aunt Yun after she died. Perhaps thinking of the Chi family's actions, the little girl pouted. Actually, the Chi family's status today is all thanks to Aunt Yun. Even the few mountain ranges that the Chi family owns were all single-handedly won by Aunt Yun. You said that the Chi family's mountains were fought by Chi Su's master? Yun Luofeng's heart sank. She did not want to meddle in this matter, but if Chi Su's master was Bai Ling, then she would take back the land that she had fought for. Master, do you think that the woman they are talking about is Bai Ling? Just as Yun Luofeng was pondering, little Mo's voice came through her soul again. I will not let go of any chance. Yun Luofeng raised her eyes, her dark eyes filled with determination. So I will find her. In fact, Yun Luofeng did not have a deep memory of Bai Ling. Most of it came from the old man's description. The beautiful woman in armor had always been invincible on the battlefield, not weaker than any man. Therefore, Yun Luofeng had long wanted to meet this beautiful general. Unfortunately, Bai Ling was already dead. She did not have the chance even if she wanted to. Even if there was only a sliver of hope, she would not give up. Most importantly, Bai Ling was the mother of this body of hers. Based on this alone, she had to see her. Sister, you really look like Aunt Yun. So, I like you very much. Can you be my sister-in-law? The little girl blinked and looked at Yun Luofeng expectantly. Yun Luofeng's face darkened. No. Why? Is my brother not good? He's good-looking and talented, and he's also very gentle. Little spirit. Before Qi Ling could finish, she was interrupted by a voice from behind. Her body stiffened. She turned around and stuck out her tongue. Big brother, you're here? Miss Yun's body hasn't recovered yet. Don't disturb her. Let her rest well. Chi Su glared at her. She was so scared that she didn't dare to breathe. She could only respond weakly, "Oh." When Chi Su stepped into the room, Yun Luofeng lifted his head and looked at Chi Su. A light flashed in his eyes. I've heard about what happened to you from Qi Ling. Chi Su frowned. That girl Xiao Ling likes to spout nonsense. Miss Yun, don't listen to her. We won't chase you away. Just take good care of your body. No, what I mean is, Yun Luofeng pursed his thin lips. I can help you get through this crisis, but you have to agree to 2 of my requests. Chi Su was a little surprised. Miss Yun, our medicine shop doesn't lack gold coins. What we need are spiritual herbs, so I'm afraid you can't help us. Who said I can't provide the elixirs? Chapter 1792. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly and slowly got up from the bed. Not only can I provide spiritual medicine, but I can also use spiritual medicine to make spiritual liquid. Some spiritual medicine needed to be consumed directly. But some spiritual medicine, if consumed directly, would not be able to withstand the powerful force and explode. Therefore, these kinds of spiritual medicine needed to be diluted into liquid. Just like the spiritual medicine that Yun Luofeng used when he transmigrated Chi Su's body shook as he looked at Yun Luofeng in shock. You're telling the truth? That's right. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. I want you to agree to 3 of my requests. What requests? Speak. Chi Su's heart tightened as he hurriedly asked. First, I want to find 2 people. One is called the Ghost Emperor and the other is called Ji Jutian. Chi Su frowned. It was difficult to find people. If he could return to the Qi family and use the Qi family's power, it would not be a problem. I agree. What's the second request? Yun Luofeng glanced at Chi Su and said nonchalantly. The second request is that you cannot expose me for the things that I have provided to you. Tell others that you have obtained them unintentionally. I can agree to this as well. Third, Yun Luofeng paused. I want you to swear to the heavenly axiom that you will not betray me in this life. Otherwise, you will be destroyed and never be reincarnated. Even in the 7 continents, many people believed in the heavenly axiom. But cultivators of that level did not have a deep understanding of the heavenly axiom. After breaking through to the immortal spirit level, they would realize that the heavenly axiom really existed. Once they made an oath, they would not violate it. Otherwise, they would really be destroyed and never be reincarnated. Chi Su did not hesitate. He pulled Qi Ling to kneel down and swear to the heavens. Of course, the premise was that Yun Luofeng really had the ability to help them. I'll give you a prescription later. You have 3 days to bring me the medicinal ingredients I want. All right. Chi Su did not ask any further questions and accepted the prescription. Miss Yun, when will our medicine shop have the spiritual medicine to oversee it? About a month. Yun Luofeng thought for a while. If she threw these herbs into the grimoire space, it would take at least 25 days for them to grow into elixirs. She also needed to extract the medicinal liquid, and just extracting the medicinal liquid would take 2 to 3 days. But our agreement with the Qi clan only lasts until the end of this month. It was only the beginning of the month, and the end of the month was exactly 1 month's time. What is the agreement between you and the Qi family? Chi Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. Within a year, make the medicine shop a household name. In that case, I only need 1 day. Next, Apart from finding those medicinal ingredients, I have one more thing for you to do. Yun Luofeng gently narrowed his eyes, and a glint flashed across them. When Qi Su heard what she said next, a look of joy flashed across his eyes. He joined his fists respectfully towards Yun Luofeng and walked out. In order to not let Qi Ling disturb Yun Luofeng, he dragged her out before he left. Needless to say, Qi Su's ability was still very strong. Even though he was unable to purchase spirit herbs due to the pressure from the Qi family, he had countless ordinary herbs. Thus, before 3 days had passed, he had already delivered the medicinal ingredients that Yun Luofeng needed in the grimoire space. Yun Luofeng handed the medicinal ingredients in his hands to the beasts so that they could pluck them into the herb farm. Chapter 1793. Soon after, her gaze slowly turned towards the seed of the dragon saliva tree and her lips curled indifferently. This dragon saliva tree needs the urine of the ancestral dragon to grow. It's a good thing that Yun Xiao left the little worm by my side. Otherwise, I'm afraid it would take a long time for the dragon saliva tree to grow. Then Yun Luofeng turned to Little Worm, who was playing with the milk tea, and picked him up. What? Little Worm stared at Yun Luofeng with its big, blurry eyes, not understanding what was going on. This dragon saliva tree needs the piss of the ancestral dragon to grow. Pee for me now. But Little Worm trembled. What if I can't pee? Yun Luofeng smiled. Seeing her smile, Little Worm shuddered all over. I'll pee now, don't do anything rash. Little Worm was terrified. He had not forgotten that this woman had wanted to roast him and eat him without saying a word. So, the fear in his heart towards Yun Luofeng made him ignore everything else and jump down from her hand. Standing beside the seed of the ambergris tree, he forced out a few drops of urine with all his might. That's right, only a few drops. Although dragon urine was filthy, it was also very precious to humans. In other words, every part of a dragon's body was a treasure. Even dragon feces could drive away spiritual beasts. This showed how precious dragon urine was. Done. After Little Worm had completed its task, it crawled to Yun Luofeng's side with a wronged expression. That's it? Yun Luofeng raised his brows and asked. Little Worm was very sullen. Do you think the dragon race is the same as humans? We only have this much urine, and I had to force it out with all my might. Yun Luofeng wanted to say something, but suddenly realized that the dragon saliva tree she had planted in the soil had begun to sprout. The sprout was only the size of a bean, but it was enough to make people excited. Master, we did it! We did it! The dragon saliva tree has finally sprouted. Little Mo's face was flushed with excitement and he almost jumped up. The ambergris tree that no one has been able to successfully pluck for thousands of years has been born in our hands. It's a pity that Little Worm's dragon urine was too little. Otherwise, the sapling would not be so small. Yun Luofeng rubbed his chin. Little Mo, I'll leave the task of watering the dragon saliva tree to you. Remember to water it once a day. If Little Worm was a human, at this moment, its face would definitely be as black as the bottom of a pot. Even so, one could still feel the resentment in his heart. Mistress, you're ruthless. It suddenly felt that the biggest mistake it had ever made in its life was leaving the hidden divine mountain with Yun Xiao. Otherwise, he would not be in such a miserable state in the hidden divine mountain. A month's time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the meeting between Qi Su and the Qi clan. Ever since Qi Mo came to Maplewood Town a month ago, he hadn't come once in a month. He seemed to have concluded that Qi Su would definitely lose a month later. But even if he didn't come to Maplewood Town again, the recent movements in Maplewood Town still reached the ears of the Qi clan, the imperial city. Compared to Maplewood Town, it was extremely luxurious. After all, this was the city where the royal family resided. In the Qi clan, the middle-aged man's face was cold. He clenched his fists tightly and a trace of anger flashed across his sharp eyes. You're saying that Qi Su will sell the spiritual liquid in 2 days? Chapter 1794. The spiritual liquid was even more precious than the spiritual herbs. It was made from the liquid extracted from several spiritual herbs. It was extremely effective. However, even the powerful Qi family did not know how to concoct the spiritual liquid. Father. Mo looked at the middle-aged man in front of him. Do you think that Yun Yueqing hid it? Did she secretly give the spiritual liquid formula to Chi Su and not to the Chi family? The middle-aged man's eyes darkened. How dare that bitch hide it? She even gave such a precious spiritual liquid formula to Chi Su? This kind of thing is only useful in the hands of the Chi family. It's a waste to give it to Chi Su. At that moment, Mo and his son seemed to have forgotten that the Chi family was only where they were today because of Chi Su's master, Yun Yueqing. Not to mention that Yun Yueqing wasn't the one who gave the spiritual liquid formula. Even if he gave it to Chi Su, what was wrong with a master letting his disciple inherit his legacy? Instead, he felt that Yun Yueqing should have given everything to the Chi family. He deserved to die if he gave it to Chi Su. Father, don't worry. So what if he has the spiritual liquid formula? He won't be able to concoct any good spiritual liquid without the spiritual herbs. Those ordinary herbs won't have any effect. Mo's lips curled up. When he fails, we'll snatch the spiritual liquid formula. What do you mean by snatch? Zhang smiled coldly. The spiritual liquid formula belongs to our Chi family. It's only natural for us to take back our things. How dare he not give it to us? Yun Yueqing has been eating and drinking in our Chi family for so many years. I've never asked her for food expenses. That spiritual liquid formula will be her food and accommodation expenses for all these years. If Chi Su and his sister were here, they would definitely realize that their father was such a shameless person. The reason why Mo was so sinister was because like father, like son, master. Suddenly, the door was knocked open, and a woman staggered in. Her pale face made her look a little sick. You can't treat Su'er and Linger like this. They're your children too. Who allowed you to come in? Zhang was impatient. Mo'er, take your mother away. Without my order, don't let her step out of the room. Yes, father. Mo cupped his fists and looked at the woman with disgust. As a woman, you shouldn't meddle in men's affairs, lest you get kicked out of the Chi family. Lin Qing's body stiffened, and her eyes widened in shock. You dare to speak to me like this? I'm your mother. Mother, Mo sneered. Do you really think you're my mother? I am Mo'er. Perhaps Zhang was afraid that he would reveal some secret, so he hurriedly shouted, What are you waiting for? Send her back. Hearing this, Mo swallowed the words that he was about to say. He glanced at Lin Qing coldly, grabbed her by the collar, and dragged her away. Zhang took a deep breath and slowly sat down. Looks like I really shouldn't have told him Mo'er's identity back then. 20 years ago, Lin Qing gave birth to the eldest son of the Chi family. Who knew that after he was born, all the flowers and plants in the Chi family withered in one day. Because of this, the midwife claimed that it was an ominous presence that would affect the future of the Chi family. Therefore, without hesitation, he strangled his eldest son to death. Coincidentally, his mistress gave birth to a son at the same time, which was the current Mo. Therefore, he cheated and brought Mo into the Chi family to pretend to be the eldest son of the Chi family. At that time, Lin Qing had lost too much blood and was unconscious. Even though she was saved in the end, she did not know anything about the outside world. She did not realize that the son she had raised was not her biological son. Chapter 1795. Patriarch. In the study, an old man standing at the side respectfully heard Zhang muttering to himself. He pondered for a moment and said, Back then, the Lin family was more powerful than the Chi family. You were afraid of old Master Lin, so you couldn't expose eldest young master's identity. Later on, when the Lin family was in trouble, you told eldest young master about this and let him meet his biological mother. Who knew that Yun Yueqing would appear and accept second young master, so you couldn't bring Mo's mother back. But now, the old man paused. Yun Yueqing is already dead. Why are you still so worried? Yes, the Lin family had fallen, and Yun Yueqing was dead. There was no one left to protect Lin Qing and her son. What else was he worried about? Actually, the reason why I hid this matter for so many years was because Yun Yueqing was too powerful. Secondly, I wanted to borrow Yun Yueqing's strength. If she knew that Mo'er and Chi Su were not brothers, then she would not help the Qi family. This was what he feared the most back then. Yun Yueqing was a very virtuous woman. She couldn't tolerate even a grain of sand in her eyes. What she despised the most were men who had multiple wives and concubines. That year, in order to obtain Yun Yueqing's help, not only had he not dared to take a concubine, he had not even seen Mo's mother for 10 years. He had used all his strength to care for Lin Qing and her son, and he had never despised that useless Qi Ling. If he hadn't performed so well, Yun Yueqing wouldn't have cared about the Qi family at all. Elder Qi, you're right. Yun Yueqing is dead, and I no longer need to fear anyone. Besides, the Qi family is now powerful enough. We no longer need her help. Qi Zheng's face lit up with a faint smile. However, in his heart he hated Yun Yueqing. He wanted nothing more than to tear this woman to pieces. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have neglected Mo's mother for so many years, and he wouldn't have stayed by Lin Qing's side for more than 10 years. All of this was Yun Yueqing's fault. She deserved to die. At a time like this, Qi Zheng had no idea that his actions were all for the sake of obtaining Yun Yueqing's help. If he really felt that he had wronged Mo's mother, he wouldn't need Yun Yueqing's help. Not only did he want others to help him, but he also wanted to enjoy the happiness of having 2 wives. How could there be such a good thing? Forget it, I don't care what Mo wants to do. How could I not see that he had purposely said all this just to bring his mother back to the residence and give her an identity? Qi Zheng laughed bitterly. All these years, I have indeed wronged Mo and his mother. It is only right for me to compensate them. If Qi Su heard this, he would definitely vomit blood in anger. This bastard killed her elder brother and had his mistress take his place. All these years, she had been enjoying the benefits that her master had brought her, and even wanted to give the empire that her master had conquered to the mistress' son. In the end, he felt that he had let down his mistress and son. He had never seen such a shameless person before. Have you heard? The Qi family medicine store is selling a type of spiritual liquid recently. It is said that this spiritual liquid can help with cultivation. Tisk, isn't the person in charge of the Qi clan's pharmacy Qi Su, who was expelled by the Qi clan? I have a relative in the imperial city. He told me personally that the Qi clan has issued a ban on Qi Su. Logically speaking, Qi Su doesn't have any spirit herbs in his possession. How did he make the spirit liquid? Do you think Qi Su stole the formula of the spiritual liquid and used ordinary herbs to make the spiritual liquid? If he used ordinary herbs to make the spiritual liquid, I'm afraid the effects would be greatly reduced. Chapter 1796. Maplewood Town. A piece of news had spread throughout the town. In 2 days, the Qi family's medicine store would be selling the spiritual liquid. Due to this news, the entire Maplewood town was in an uproar. However, everyone was in a wait-and-see state. No one thought that Qi Su's spiritual liquid would be effective. Miss Yun, how is it? Qi Su walked into the courtyard anxiously. He immediately saw the woman sitting calmly on the bed. Her eyes were filled with anxiety. There are only 2 days left. I'm afraid it's too late. Yun Luofeng glanced at Qi Su indifferently. Just go back and wait. I'll bring out the spiritual liquid in 2 days. Qi Su had wanted to say something, but when he saw Yun Luofeng's calm expression, he swallowed the words that were at the tip of his tongue. He should believe in her. If she could say something like this, she would definitely do it. In reality, Qi Su didn't know why he had such confidence in Yun Luofeng. Maybe it was because she looked similar to his master. This face made Qi Su subconsciously believe everything she said. All right, I'll wait for you in the front hall in 2 days. He glanced at Yun Luofeng one last time and walked out. Master. In the front hall, Xiu had been waiting for him. Her beautiful face was filled with anxiety, and her eyes were filled with anxiety. I've heard about what happened recently. Did Lord Yu Qing leave the spiritual liquid formula for you? But without the spiritual herb, the formula, Xiu, I must have my own reasons for doing this. Qi Su furrowed his brows. He promised Yun Luofeng that he wouldn't expose her. Even if Xiu was his maid and the person his master had left for him, he couldn't tell her. Master! Xiu pursed her lips. I'm just worried that if you fail this time, The young lady will be taken away by the Qi family. She didn't believe that Qi Su could take out the spiritual herb. If she had it long ago, they wouldn't be in this situation today. Plus, Master, you still have the mood to look at that woman at a time like this? Xiu said indignantly when Qi Su didn't say anything. Instantly, a sharp gaze landed on Xiu's face. What do you mean by that woman? You'd better be more polite when you speak. Don't think that just because you're someone left behind by Master that you can ride all over this young Master. That year, Master only saw that your talent wasn't bad. So she saved your life and asked you to stay behind to protect me. She didn't ask you to make decisions for me. Xiu's face was pale. Ever since her young master had been rushed to Maplewood Town a year ago, she had followed him. She didn't know how much hardship she had suffered in the past year. But for her young master, she had persevered. But she didn't expect that the young master would rebuke her for a woman of unknown origin. Master, she only looks like Sir Yu Qing. She has nothing to do with Sir Yu Qing. Don't be fooled by her. Qi Su's face gradually turned cold. Xiu, it seems that without Master here, I won't be able to discipline you. Since that's the case, I won't be able to keep you here any longer. Leave. He was Yun Yueqing's disciple, and Xiu was nothing more than a handmaiden his master had left for him. As a maid, she dared to disobey her master's orders. Then why did he leave such a maid behind? Chapter 1797. Panic flashed across Xiu's eyes. She hurriedly knelt down. Sir, please don't chase me away. If Sir Yu Qing comes back and finds out, he'll definitely kill me. Qi Su sighed softly. He was too soft-hearted towards Xiu. After all, she had suffered a lot with him over the past year. How could he really chase her away at a time like this? If you respect Miss Yun, I'll agree to let you stay. If you go against me, don't blame me for being ruthless. Qi Su's aura surged out and pressed down on Xiu in an overwhelming manner. Xiu paled. She was almost pressed to the ground, but she didn't dare to say a word of resistance. You can leave. If there's nothing else, don't provoke Miss Yun. She's not someone you can afford to offend. Qi Su waved his hand and said coldly, if Yun Luofeng could really take out so much spiritual fluid, then this woman was indeed not someone Xiu could afford to provoke. Yes, sir. Xiu stood up from the ground. She kept her head down, hiding the indignation and anger in her eyes. She slowly retreated. There were only 2 days left until the agreement between Qi Su and the Qi family. In these 2 days, Yun Luofeng hid in the divine grimoire space to concoct spiritual fluid at night in order not to attract attention. During the day, she sat in the pavilion and read a medical grimoire. However, what puzzled Yun Luofeng was that in these 2 days, although Xiu still looked at her with anger in her eyes, she no longer mocked or ridiculed her, nor did she chase her away. Yun Luofeng, who didn't know what happened, ignored Xiu's change. Instead, she read the book in her hands seriously. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Today was the day the Qi family would sell the spiritual fluid. Qi Su had been waiting for Yun Luofeng in the hall for a long time. He even dismissed all the servants and asked Qi Ling to stand guard outside the door. From afar, he saw a woman in white walking towards him. At that moment, the sunlight shone on her face. It was so dazzling that one couldn't look away. Miss Yun, you're here? Qi Su suppressed the surprise in his eyes and asked with a smile. Yun Luofeng flipped her palm and a space ring appeared in her palm. Her lips curled into a devilish smile, and her pair of pitch-black eyes were bottomless. This is the space ring. I've already placed all the spiritual liquid in this space ring. Now I'll give it all to you. Qi Su's heart skipped a beat. His fingers trembled as he received the spatial ring. Miss Yun, what spirit liquid is this? And what effects does it have? Yun Luofeng looked at Qi Su, an enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid. In the past, she had only brewed ordinary spirit-gathering liquid which was not very useful to the people of the Cloudy Continent. Therefore, she modified the old formula and invented this enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid. The enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid is very useful for those below the divine spirit realm. For example, A low-level Holy Spirit Realm cultivator would be able to break through to the mid-level Holy Spirit Realm in half a year after consuming the enhanced version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid. A Holy Spirit's breakthrough was considered extremely difficult in the Seven Continents continent, but it was not difficult in the Wind Cloud continent. Even so, a Holy Spirit Realm cultivator's breakthrough would take at least a year. Yun Luofeng had said that it would take at most half a year. That meant that no matter how bad one's talent was, they would still be able to reach the mid-level Holy Spirit Realm in half a year. Talented experts would probably succeed in a month or so. Chapter 1798. Chi Su's breathing quickened. Are you telling the truth? There were as many Holy Spirit Masters as there were hairs on a cow on the Wind Cloud continent. It was precisely because there were so many of them that it indirectly proved the importance of the strengthened version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid. The strengthened version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid is targeted at Holy Spirit Masters. It's best not to use it for those below the Holy Spirit stage. Otherwise, if the medicinal effects are too strong, they might explode and die. That's why I've also prepared a normal version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid. Anyone can use it. Yun Luofeng's lips curled. Of course, the strengthened version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid is of little value to a divine spirit. Even so, it can allow a cultivator to cultivate faster than before. Chi Su's fingers trembled as he held the ring tightly. He raised his eyes and fixed them on Yun Luofeng. What's your motive for helping me? I told you to help me find someone. Secondly, I'm short of money. Any silver from the sale will belong to me. In reality, Yun Luofeng was not short of money. However, if she wanted to increase her power, she needed to cultivate more precious spiritual herbs. Furthermore, she had another plan. These plans made her very short of money. All right, I can agree to all of your requests. Chi Su's heart was filled with excitement. By the way, do you want to go to the medicine shop with me? Yun Luofeng shook his head. No, you can settle those things yourself. Just bring me the gold coins. Chi Su nodded. Since that's the case, wait here for my good news. After saying this, Chi Su strode towards the door, pushed it open and slowly walked out. Big brother. Chi Ling saw Chi Su and called out in a soft voice. Her delicate face was filled with a cute smile. Xiao Ling, let's go. Chi Su held Chi Ling's hand with a determined smile on his face. From today onwards, I want the Chi family to be unable to do anything to me and my sister. The Chi family's medicine shop. Everyone from Maplewood Town and other small towns rushed over upon hearing the news, causing the entire medicine shop to be surrounded so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The shopkeeper was sweating profusely while dealing with the customers. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of Chi Su and his sister walking towards them from the back of the crowd. His eyes brightened. Young master, young lady, you're here? Uncle Zhao, you've worked hard. Leave the rest to me. Chi Su smiled and walked through the crowd into the medicinal hall. Uncle Zhao wanted to say something, but when he saw the calm smile on Chi Su's face, he subconsciously swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue and stood aside helplessly. Young Master Chi, is the spirit liquid that your Chi clan's medicine hall advertises real? A middle-aged man in the crowd asked. His words were filled with flattery and his eyes were filled with ridicule. Obviously, these people did not think that Chi Su could really take out any spiritual liquid. They came here today just to watch a joke. Chi Su smiled in response to the middle-aged man's question. He rubbed the space ring on his finger and a bottle of spiritual liquid immediately appeared in his hand. If you want to prove whether this spiritual liquid really has this effect, it's actually very simple. Someone bring me a bathtub. As soon as he finished speaking, two burly men carried a bathtub in from outside. The bathtub was filled with water, and it was still emitting steam, which permeated the entire medicinal hall. Chapter 1799. This spirit liquid is used for bathing. Mix it into the bathtub. At this moment, if you cultivate while sitting in the bathtub, your cultivation speed will increase by a lot. Chi Su smiled as he walked to the side of the bathtub. He opened the bottle cap and poured a fifth of the spiritual liquid into the bathtub. In that instant, The originally transparent water turned a light green and emitted a rich spiritual energy. This spiritual energy is so rich. The middle-aged man who had mocked Chi Su earlier shuddered and quickly closed his eyes. He could feel the spiritual energy entering his internal organs through his pores. He felt extremely comfortable. If you want to prove whether the spiritual liquid is real or not, you just need to go in and cultivate. You can cultivate for half a month after adding the spiritual liquid. If you think it's really beneficial, you can buy it again. Chi Su took back the bottle and capped it. There was a faint smile on his face, and he looked calm and composed. Let me try first. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he rushed to the bathtub. But before he could reach the side of the bathtub, a rough arm stopped him and threw him out. Get out of my way. Let me do it. The rough-looking man jumped into the bathtub without giving the others a chance to react. He did not even take off his clothes and quickly sat down cross-legged to cultivate. After a long while, he suddenly opened his eyes and let out a roar. Awesome! This is awesome! The spiritual energy was so rich that it seemed like it could turn into spring water and enter his body through the opening and closing pores. Boom! In an instant, the man's aura soared and formed a huge storm above his head. He broke through. Everyone was stunned and their faces were filled with shock. Even Chi Su was shocked by this sudden turn of events. He only reacted after a while. If I'm not wrong, this guest was already on the verge of a breakthrough. Our enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid can allow a beginner Holy Spirit to reach the mid-level within half a year at the very latest. Since he was already on the verge of a breakthrough, he only needed an opportunity to succeed. I'm honored that my spirit-gathering liquid has become that opportunity. He had to admit that his luck was really good. Usually, the effects of the spirit-gathering medicinal fluid could only be determined after a long period of time, but he just had to encounter a person who was about to make a breakthrough. Normally, a spiritualist would need powerful spiritual chi to break through a bottleneck, and the spiritual chi given to him by the spirit-gathering medicine was just right for him to break through. That was what allowed him to break through. Ha ha ha! The coarse man let out a hearty laugh. I was right to come to Maplewood Town this time. Young Master Chi Su, how much is your spirit-gathering liquid? Chi Su squinted his eyes. The enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid, 80 million taels. 80 million taels was not a small sum even to the people of the Windy Cloud continent. The burly man was obviously shocked. He frowned and said, I didn't prepare well when I went out this time. I didn't know that I would encounter such a good thing. I wonder if young Master Chi Su can give us time to prepare? I'll raise the money. After all, these people weren't from the great clans of the Imperial City. It would be very difficult for them to fork out this sum of money all at once. All right. Chi Su was silent for a moment before he nodded. You can pay the deposit first. The deposit for a bottle of spiritual liquid is 10 million taels. Once you've collected the money, you can come to Maplewood Town to collect the spiritual liquid. Haha. Thank you, young Master Chi Su. I want to reserve 2 bottles. Chapter 1800. A bottle of spirit liquid could be used 5 times. Each use would last for half a month. In other words, a bottle of spirit liquid could only last for 2.5 months. That was why the burly man ordered 2 bottles at once. Young Master Chi, me too. I don't have much money, so I'll order a bottle first. TSK, you poor wretches. What's the use of 1 bottle? Young Master Chi. Give me 5 bottles. Of course, I'll reserve 1 as well. I'll gather the rest of the money when I get back. Chi Su's heart was filled with excitement as he looked at the crowd. He raised his hand and stopped the noisy crowd. Everyone, this enhanced version of spirit-gathering medicinal liquid is only targeted at Holy Spirit Realm cultivators. Although Divine Spirit Realm cultivators can also use it, the effects are useless. The crowd immediately fell silent as they listened to Chi Su's words. The effects are useless. Even so, everyone still firmly believed that even if a God Spirit expert consumed it, it would still be able to increase their cultivation speed. They did not draw anything because they believed that Chi Su had more to say. However, as expected, Chi Su paused for a moment. The enhanced version of spirit-gathering medicinal liquid cannot be used by those below Holy Spirit realm. Otherwise, their bodies will immediately explode and they will die. What? The crowd turned pale with fright. A man was even more dejected. I wanted to let my son use it. He's only 10 years old and hasn't reached Holy Spirit realm yet. If he can use the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, he will definitely reach Holy Spirit realm in a short period of time. Me too. Although my son has just been born, I need to make preparations for him too. Chi-Su chuckled when he saw their dejected expressions. Have you all forgotten what this spirit-gathering medicinal liquid is called? This is the enhanced version of spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. Since there's an enhanced version, there must be a normal version as well. The normal version is cheaper. You can buy one bottle for 30 million taels of silver. One bottle can be used 8 times. This normal version of spirit-gathering medicinal liquid is targeted at those below Holy Spirit realm. The dejected crowd immediately became excited when they heard Chi-Su's words. Young Master Chi-Su, what are you waiting for? I want 3 bottles of the enhanced version of spirit-gathering medicinal liquid. As for the normal version, give me 10 bottles. The price of the enhanced version of the spirit-gathering potion is too high. I'd better order 1 bottle for my own use. I can order 20 bottles of the normal version. In the beginning, everyone came here with the attitude of watching a show. No one thought that the Chi family's medicinal hall would have such a popular day. What elixir? Compared to the spiritual liquid, it wasn't even worth mentioning. No matter how outstanding the effects of your elixirs are, they can at most strengthen your cultivation, strengthen your body, or cure all kinds of diseases. Could it help people break through on the spot like the spiritual liquid? That was obviously impossible. Out of the way, out of the way! Just as the crowd was in an uproar, an arrogant voice came from outside the crowd. Can't you see that our young master is here? Hurry up and get lost. Behind the crowd, Chi-Mo waved his folding fan gently with a sinister smile on his feminine face. He looked at the medicinal hall that was filled with people, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. Originally, the matter of Chi-Su selling the spiritual liquid was only known to everyone in Maplewood Town. People in other places were not aware of it. It was he who had purposely spread the news on behalf of Chi-Su, all for the sake of today's scene. Later, he would expose Chi-Su on the spot and snatch the spiritual liquid formula back. Just as Chi-Mo was about to squeeze into the medicinal hall, he angered a burly man in front of him. He raised his hand and pushed Chi-Mo away. Chapter 1801. Why are you cutting the queue? Hurry up and line up. Chi-Mo's expression froze. He suppressed the anger in his heart and gritted his teeth. Do you know who I am? The burly man had always been fearless. When he heard this, he looked at Chi-Mo in disdain. I don't care who you are. You're not allowed to cut the queue. Either line up properly or scram. At that moment, the burly man's voice attracted the attention of everyone in front. Everyone turned around and looked at Chi-Mo with contempt and anger. Who knew how much spirit-gathering liquid Chi-Su had? If someone else had said it all, wouldn't they lose it? That was the spirit-gathering liquid that could help a Holy Spirit break through. How could they allow someone to cut the queue? No matter who the other party was, they had to line up and wait. Chi-Mo's face turned ashen. I've lived for so many years, but no one has ever dared to speak to me like this. Someone, chase these people out. His words completely infuriated everyone. Where did this idiot come from? We don't care who you are today, you're not allowed to cut the queue. How dare you chase us out? Do you not want us to get the spirit-gathering liquid? One of the people in the queue said, as if he wanted to see the world in chaos. Initially, Chi-Mo only wanted to chase them away to vent his anger. However, he said that Chi-Mo wanted to take the spirit-gathering liquid for himself and not leave a single one for them. How could he do that? The group of people glared at Chi-Mo angrily, as if they would tear him into pieces if he dared to take a step forward. Actually, it was Chi-Mo's fault for spreading the news to Chi-Su. The people from Maplewood Town were not strong enough. The guards he brought were enough to fight against them. However, at that moment, he could feel that a few people in the group were emitting powerful energy. That power made him a little afraid. It was obvious that those experts did not belong to Maplewood Town. Chi-Mo gritted his teeth. Chi-Su, get out here. Don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding inside. A year has passed, and the Chi family's medicine hall is still half dead because of you. You've already lost. Hand over Chi Ling immediately, and I'll spare your life. In the medicinal hall, the Chi siblings had already heard Chi-Mo's voice, but they ignored him. Now, his arrogant voice was heard again, causing Chi Ling's body to tremble. She subconsciously tightened her grip on Chi-Su's hand, and fear appeared in her eyes. Don't be afraid. Little Ling. Chi-Su patted Chi Ling's little hand comfortingly. I'll go out and take a look. You stay here. With that, he looked up at Uncle Zhao. Uncle Zhao, please take care of Xiao Ling. Chi-Su pushed Chi Ling's hand away and walked out of the medicinal hall. Chi-Mo was still shouting at the top of his lungs with a flushed face. Chi-Su, you coward. You can't afford to lose. I really don't know why Yun Yueqing would accept an idiot like you as his disciple. If he's going to accept someone, he should accept me. Yes, in his heart, he had always thought that Chi-Su could not compare to him. He was even more jealous of Chi-Su for having such a powerful master. That was also why Chi-Mo treated Chi-Su like that after Yun Yueqing disappeared. Are you calling me? A cold voice came from the medicine hall. Chi-Mo looked up and saw Chi-Su, who was dressed in a brocade robe, walking out of the door. His handsome face was cold as he stared at him. Chi-Su, you're finally here. Chi-Mo sneered. You've already lost. Leave Chi Ling to me. Chapter 1802. Are you sure I lost? Chi-Su smiled faintly and asked. Is there a need to ask? Chi-Mo's feminine face was filled with arrogance. Do you think that you won just because you used the spiritual liquid to attract so many people? To tell you the truth, I was the one who helped you publicize the sale of the spiritual liquid. Otherwise, how would I have the chance to expose you? Chi-Su narrowed his eyes. Then should I thank you? If it weren't for Chi-Mo, he wouldn't have ordered so much spiritual liquid. How dare you be so stubborn at a time like this? Chi-Mo curled his lips mockingly. The reason why the spiritual liquid is called spiritual liquid is because it needs to be extracted from spiritual herbs. If you replace the spiritual herbs with ordinary herbs, you'll be deceiving the customers. Chi-Su, father is already angry. If you personally send Chi Ling to the Chen family, I'll help you persuade father to forgive you. He had to make Chi-Su personally send Chi Ling out. That way, he would suffer for the rest of his life. At that moment, Chi-Mo didn't notice that everyone looked at him with disdain when they heard what he said. It was as if he had said something stupid. Chi-Mo, how do you know that my spiritual liquid isn't made from spiritual herbs? Chi-Su sneered and asked in a disdainful tone. Ha ha! Chi-Mo laughed maniacally. Spiritual herbs? Why would you wait until today if you had spiritual herbs? Chi-Su, do you think I'm stupid? Moreover, the spiritual herbs in Drifting Wind Nation were all controlled by the Chi family. The few scattered drug dealers wouldn't go against the Chi family and sell him spiritual herbs. If that was the case, where did she get these spiritual herbs from? Come, let me see what your spiritual liquid is. Chi-Mo sneered and walked past the crowd to the medicine hall. Since the customers knew Chi-Mo's identity, they didn't stop him this time. Instead, they stood by the side and watched the show. In the medicine hall, Chi Ling saw Chi-Mo walking into the medicine hall. Her body trembled and she quickly used Zhao Shu's body to block herself. Chi-Mo didn't look at Chi Ling and walked in. Where's the spiritual liquid? Hand it over now. Finally, someone in the crowd couldn't stand it anymore and said, Young Master Chi, isn't the spiritual liquid in that bathtub? Your Chi family controls so many spirit herbs, yet you still can't recognize the spirit liquid? Chi-Mo's expression changed. He glanced at the person who spoke coldly before walking to the bathtub. Uncle Zhao shook his head helplessly as he watched Chi-Mo walk toward the bathtub. Compared to the outstanding second young master of the Chi family, Chi-Mo was a good-for-nothing. She really didn't know what the family head was thinking. He chased the outstanding second young master Chi out and planned to hand the family business to the useless Chi-Mo. This was tantamount to leading the Chi family, which had just become strong with great difficulty, into a dead end once again. This is the spiritual liquid you were talking about? It's just some... Before Mo could finish his sentence, his expression froze. He was indeed a hopeless case, but even so, he could still distinguish between ordinary herbs and spirit herbs. Therefore, when he felt the spiritual energy contained in the bathtub, his expression became extremely ugly, and he turned to Chi-Su angrily. Chi-Su, where did you get these elixirs from? Did you steal them from the Chi family? Chi-Su smiled faintly as Mo gritted his teeth. I left the Chi family's house. You searched me and stole my spatial ring. Now, you're saying that I stole them from the Chi family? Chapter 1803. That spatial ring was given to him by his master. The items inside were extremely precious, but they were forcefully taken away by the Chi family. He even shamelessly claimed that he was bald when he was born in the Chi family. When he left, he had to be bald too. Everything on him belonged to the Chi family. Therefore, not only had his spatial ring been taken away, but his clothes had also been stripped. Fortunately, a friend had lent him a set of luggage. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to walk into Maplewood Town safely. You said that you didn't take anything from the Chi family. Where did you get the method to concoct the spiritual liquid? Mo stared at Chi-Su sinisterly. His gaze was like a venomous snake coiling around his neck. Young Master Chi. The man who mocked Mo earlier continued. You said that this spiritual liquid belongs to the Chi family, but what evidence do you have? If the Chi family really has this, why haven't you used it before? This? Mo's expression changed, and he said shamelessly, these formulas must belong to Chi-Su's master, but he actually hid them. Doesn't that mean that he stole something from the Chi family? And these spiritual herbs should belong to the Chi family. Chi-Su's mother had stolen his mother's position. How could she still have these things? Ha ha! The man laughed. You also said that the spiritual liquid formula came from second young Master Chi's master. This is the first time I've heard that his master's items should not be given to him, but to you. He accepted his master's inheritance, so it's equivalent to stealing your things? This is the first time I've met such a shameless person. Chi-Su looked at the man gratefully. He did not expect that someone would say such words without fear of the Chi family's status. Indeed, as soon as the man finished speaking, Mo's murderous gaze shot towards him. There was a bone-piercing coldness in his eyes. How dare you humiliate the Chi family? The man smiled fearlessly. Those who humiliate others will be humiliated by others. If young Master Chi wasn't so shameless, why wouldn't I be able to stand it? Mo was about to flare up when the man walked in front of Chi-Su and cupped his fists in a friendly manner. Second young Master Chi. I'm from the kingdom of Tianqi. You can just call me Second Brother Chi. I came to the country of Drifting Wind to train, so I came when I heard that there were spiritual herbs for sale here. Someone from the kingdom of Tianqi? And his surname was Chi? Chi-Su's eyes flashed with surprise. No wonder he dared to be afraid of Mo. There was only one person with the surname Chi in the state of Tianqi, and that was the royal family of the state of Tianqi. Mo obviously did not think of that and continued to clamor. I don't care where you come from. Anyone who offends me deserves to die. At this moment, Uncle Zhao's face was completely red. He was a member of the Chi family, so it was only right for him to obey the Chi family's orders. However, if he had to choose, he would choose Chi-Su. This Mo was too stupid. The other party was obviously a member of the royal family of the state of Tianqi. He actually ignored this point and even dared to clamor in front of him. And there was only one person who could call himself Old Chi, the second prince of Tianqi. Chi-Su also thought of this and said respectfully, Second Master Chi, what else do you want to say? This man was about 30 years old, while Chi-Su was only a teenager. It was not an exaggeration to call him Second Master. Moreover, the other party obviously did not want to be known as a prince. Otherwise, he would not call himself Second Brother Chi. Young Master Chi, I want you to provide me with a large amount of spiritual liquid. Of course, I will buy it at the original price. How about it? Second Brother Chi narrowed his eyes and asked with a smile. Chapter 1804. This, Chi Su was stunned. It's very difficult to concoct the spiritual liquid. Can you let me go back and think about it? He could not make a decision casually. He had to ask Yun Luofeng first. That was why Chi Su did not agree to it. All right, I'll stay in Maplewood Town for the time being. You can send someone to inform me if you've made up your mind. Second Master Chi smiled and glanced at Chi Mo. Of course. I'll be more than happy to help you if you need my help. No need. I'll settle the matters at home myself. There's no need to trouble Second Master Chi. All right. Second Master Chi nodded and did not say anything else. I'll take my leave then. I'll wait for your news. After saying that, Second Master Chi flicked his sleeves and left. At the same time, a few experts in the crowd followed him and left. Chi Mo found it difficult to breathe when Second Master Chi glanced at him just now. He only regained his breath after he left. Chi Su, I'll give you one last chance. Are you going to hand over the spiritual liquid formula or not? Don't forget that your master, Yun Yueching, has been living off the Chi family for 10 years. Father has never asked her for a single cent. This spiritual liquid formula can be used to repay the debt. That was what he had thought of before, so he said it naturally. Chi Su was so angry that he laughed. Chi Mo, do you know what the Chi family's status was 10 years ago? My master has never given the Chi family a single cent. However, the few mountains that your family controls were obtained from her. Father was able to break through to his current realm because of her help. Do you dare to say that she has been living off the Chi family for 10 years? Chi Su's eyes were filled with anger when he said that. The crowd was also enraged by Chi Mo's shameless words. I didn't know that the Chi family was so shameless. They relied on their master to become rich, yet they dared to say that their master was living off the Chi family without paying. If I were second young Master Chi's master, I would never help this heartless Chi family. TSK, actually, it's not his master's fault. I heard that when his master was around, the Chi family was filial and prosperous. Chi Mo also prioritized Chi Su over everything. Who would have thought that second young Master Chi's master would reveal her true colors after disappearing for 3 years? Drifting Wind Country was only so big. Of course, everyone knew about the Chi family's affairs, but no one bothered to do anything about it. It was just that they didn't dare to talk about it back then. It was only after Chi Lauer made the first move that they spoke their minds. Chi Mo's face turned from green to red, and then from red to white as if it had been dyed. He fiercely glared at Chi Su. Chi Su, just you wait. I'll get my father to look for you when I get back. If my father asks you for the formula, would you dare to refuse? If you don't, you'll be unfilial. I've already been kicked out of the Chi family. In other words, if he was kicked out of the Chi family, they would have nothing to do with him. Chi Mo snorted and led the group of people from the Chi family out of the medicine hall. Anyway, this formula would belong to the Chi family sooner or later, and the Chi family would belong to him sooner or later, so he was not in a hurry. Without the protection of the Chi family, Chi Su would not be able to defeat him. Big brother? After Chi Mo left, Chi Ling walked out from behind Uncle Zhao and tugged at Chi Su's sleeve worriedly. Chi Su squatted down and rubbed Chi Ling's little head. Xiao Ling, it's all in the past. I won't allow anyone to hurt you. Yes, I believe in you. An innocent smile appeared on Chi Ling's little face. In this world, apart from Aunt Yun, she trusted her brother the most. Chapter 1805. However, now there was another Yun Luofeng. The young Chi Ling would never forget that Yun Luofeng had given her brother the spiritual liquid and that it was Yun Luofeng who had helped them. Hence, in her little heart, there was room for a woman she had not known for long. In the side courtyard, Yun Luofeng was sitting in a pavilion, holding a book and leaning lazily against a pillar. The sunlight shone on her face, making her look both beautiful and demonic. Shiyu was standing not far away, waiting for Chi Su, occasionally glaring at Yun Luofeng. This was a crucial day that would decide whether Chi Ling would be sold. How could this woman be so calm? Besides, the young master had saved her. Was she not worried for the young master and young lady? As expected, she would not worry about something that had nothing to do with her. Shiyu bit her lip. She really did not know why the young master wanted to keep such a useless woman. Just as Shiyu was feeling indignant, two familiar figures appeared in front of her, causing her eyes to light up. Young master, young lady, you're back? Sister Yun. Qi Ling saw Yun Luofeng, who was reading a book, and her big eyes shone brightly. She lifted her short legs and skipped over to him. From beginning to end, it was as if she had not seen Shiyu at all. Shiyu's expression froze and a wave of anger rose in her heart. The young master was like this and the young lady was the same. She really did not know what kind of charm this woman had. Besides, in the past, the young lady liked to pester her. Because of this woman's appearance, even the young lady's gaze would only fall on her. Sister Yun, I finally don't have to be sold by the Qi family. Qi Ling's little face lit up with a bright smile, looking innocent and pure. Yun Luofeng slowly put down the book in her hand and looked at Qi Ling's bright smile. Her demonic and beautiful face also lit up with a faint smile. She raised her hand and gently stroked the little girl's little head. Her pitch-black eyes seemed to shine. Then, I should congratulate you and your sister. Qi Ling had wanted to say that this was all thanks to Yun Luofeng, but she suddenly remembered that Shiyu was still here. She swallowed the words that were on the tip of her tongue. Although Shiyu was given to her by Aunt Yun, Sister Yun had said that this matter could not be told to anyone other than the siblings. Not even the people around Big Brother. Thinking of this, Qi Ling pursed her lips. Sister Yun, will you stay in the Qi family forever? Her crisis had been resolved. Perhaps, Sister Yun would leave this place. Yun Luofeng's hand, which was stroking Qi Ling, paused for a moment. He smiled and said, when I find the person I'm looking for, I'll leave. Qi Ling lowered her head in disappointment. Even though she did not want Big Sister Yun to leave the Qi family, she still hoped that she would be able to find the person she was looking for as soon as possible. Qi Su, who was standing quietly in the pavilion, slowly turned his gaze to Yun Luofeng. His handsome face was filled with gentle lines. In all these years, apart from her master and him, this was the first time Xiao Ling had relied on someone like this. Even in front of her mother, she had never felt this way. Shiyu, you can leave first. Qi Su thought of second brother Qi's request and frowned. He glanced at Shiyu and said plainly. Shiyu's body stiffened. Her eyes filled with anger. In the end, she bit her lip and lowered her head. Yes, young master. Chapter 1806. Before leaving, Shiyu didn't forget to glare at Yun Luofeng fiercely. Qi Su's mind was filled with second brother Qi's matters, so he didn't notice Shiyu's final glare. After Shiyu left, he quickly walked to Yun Luofeng's side. Miss Yun, I met the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi in the medicine hall today. The second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi? Yun Luofeng's eyes flickered as he asked, what is he doing here? The second prince wants us to provide him with a large amount of spirit-gathering liquid. He will buy it at the original price, but I didn't agree immediately. I said that I needed to think about it. Qi Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. After all, Yun Luofeng was the one who had provided the spirit-gathering liquid, so he didn't know how much Yun Luofeng still had. That was why he didn't agree so easily. Yun Luofeng pondered for a moment. Within a month, I can provide him with 50 bottles of strengthened spirit-gathering liquid and 100 bottles of ordinary spirit-gathering liquid. If he can agree, we can do this business. All right, I will reply to him later. Qi Su smiled. Obviously, he also wanted to accept this business deal from the second prince. Qi Su, you don't have to give me the gold coins you earned from selling the spirit liquid today. I still need you to buy some items for me. Yun Luofeng's eyes flickered. The Windy Cloud continent wasn't the 7 continents after all. Many plans that couldn't be carried out in the 7 continents could be carried out successfully here. Please speak, Miss Yun. Qi Su stood respectfully in front of Yun Luofeng. Perhaps it was because of the spirit-gathering liquid, but he was filled with reverence for the woman in front of him. I will write down the items I need on a piece of paper. You can buy them for me. Also, ask the second prince to stay for now. I want to see him personally in a month. Yun Luofeng's fingers lightly tapped on the stone table. Her slightly narrowed eyes shone with light. The corners of her lips curled up, forming a silent smile. The spirit god continent was too powerful, so powerful that she couldn't match it. Fortunately, the windy cloud continent had become a space for her to train. Because of this, she would make good use of this opportunity and make the windy cloud continent her backing. The news that Maplewood Town's Chi clan's medicinal hall was selling spirit liquid had spread from that day onwards, and there were even more people from other places who were attracted by its fame. Uncle Zhao was extremely busy, but he had a long-lost smile on his face. Even Chi Su's guards were sent to help out. It was clear how popular the Chi clan's medicinal hall was. Of course, some people were happy while others were angry. In the Chi family's main hall, Qi Zheng slammed his palm on the table. The veins on his forehead bulged as he angrily shouted, "Qi Su, that unfilial son. He doesn't even listen to my orders. Does he want me, his father, to go to a small place like Maplewood Town to find him?" Within this 1 month, Qi Zheng had repeatedly ordered Qi Su and his sister to return to the Qi family. However, Qi Su had ignored his orders. This ignited the anger in his heart. If Qi Su was in front of him now, he would definitely not be able to control himself and slap this unfilial son to death. "Dad, Qi Su is clearly looking down on you." Qi Mo sneered. He even claimed that he's no longer a member of the Qi family. Impudent. Qi Zheng's face turned ashen and his entire body trembled. The Qi family has raised him for so many years. Now that he doesn't need the Qi family anymore, he can just kick us away? I want to see if he can still refuse to hand over the formula if I, his father, personally go to find him. Chapter 1807. In fact, Qi Zheng wasn't so angry because Qi Su was unfilial. Instead, Qi Su had something as good as the spirit liquid formula, but he didn't give it to him. That was unforgivable. Men, follow this patriarch to Maplewood Town. This time, I want everything from the Qi family's medicinal hall back, not just the formula of the spirit liquid. Father. Qi Mo's eyes flickered. The Qian family sent someone here again. They want Qi Ling to be old man Qian's concubine. The Qian family will give her 100 spirit herbs as a betrothal gift. 100 spirit herbs? Qi Zheng was stunned. Greed flashed across his eyes, but he fell silent. A year ago, I said that I would marry Qi Ling to old man Qian, but you insisted on sending them to Maplewood Town first. You even made such a ridiculous agreement for Qi Su. Now that you've lost to Qi Su, how are you going to bring Qi Ling back? Qi Zheng regretted it at the thought of this. Qi Ling was just a good-for-nothing. She was useless in the Qi family. The Qi family had already made a profit by using her to exchange for 100 spirit herbs. Dad, marriage is a big deal. It's the parents' decision. As Qi Ling's father, what right does she have to disobey who you want her to marry? Qi Mo sneered. As for my agreement with Qi Su, can't I just deny it? That's the only way. Qi Zheng glanced at Qi Mo and said, "Also, get ready to bring your mother back in a few days." Qi Mo froze and looked at Qi Zheng in disbelief. His eyes were filled with joy. "Father, is what you said true? You want to clear my mother's name?" Qi Zheng looked at Qi Mo with a pained expression. "You and your mother have suffered too much all these years. The Qi family is powerful enough now, and Yun Yueqing is no longer around. I should make it up to you." He paused and said, "I know you're jealous that Yun Yueqing took Qi Su as his disciple. However, so what if he's Yun Yueqing's disciple? You're the eldest son of the Qi family. All the Qi family's finances will belong to you." "Father, I understand. It's just that I've been separated from mother for so many years. This is indeed my fault for separating you and your mother. In the future, I will use the rest of my life to make it up to you." He felt that the worst thing he had done was to separate Qi Mo and his mother. However, he did not feel that it was wrong to strangle his own son, who asked all the flowers in the courtyard to wither when that kid was born. If such an inauspicious person were to live, it would definitely affect the Qi family's career. Look, if it wasn't for that brat's death, how could the Qi family have its status today? Therefore, Qi Zheng was very glad that he had decisively strangled Qi Su's brother back then. He also believed that Qi Mo's arrival in the Qi family had brought luck to the Qi family. That was why the Qi family had become second only to the royal family in such a short time. If Yun Yueqing knew that the Qi family he had helped had such thoughts, would he regret his actions? Father, when are we going to take back what belongs to our Qi family? No. It should be said that he wanted to take back what belonged to him. Qi Zheng's face sank little by little, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed through his sharp eyes. I'll set off for Maplewood Town in a moment. I want to see if that unfilial son has the guts to defy me. Maplewood Town. Qi Su and his sister did not know about the commotion in the Qi family. They did not expect Qi Zheng to come personally. Chapter 1808. At this moment, Qi Su was standing at the door of Yun Luofeng's room, waiting. After a while, the door was slowly pushed open, and a woman in white entered his sight. Qi Su's eyes lit up. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly realized that there were 3 women behind Yun Luofeng. The 3 of them were expressionless. Their faces were paralyzed, and their eyes were lifeless. They were like puppets in human form. Miss Yun, these people are... Qi Su was startled as he looked at the 3 young women in astonishment. His eyes were filled with astonishment. When did these people appear in Miss Yun's room? Why didn't he know? Moreover, the pressure from these 3 women was too strong. So strong that it made one's heart tremble. Deity? Qi Su's body trembled. If he guessed correctly, these 3 women were at the deity realm. Let's go. Aren't we going to see the second prince of Tianqi? Then let's go now. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up as she glanced at Qi Su. See the second prince? Then these 3 women. Qi Su didn't understand what Yun Luofeng wanted to do, especially since a month ago, she asked him to buy a pile of meteoric iron to forge weapons for her. After he bought the meteoric iron, she hid in her room and didn't come out again. After she appeared, there were 3 more women? No! Qi Su suddenly seemed to feel something. Her eyes were filled with shock. Miss Yun, these women aren't breathing. Yes, these 3 women weren't breathing. Whether it was humans or spirit beasts, as long as they were alive, they would breathe. If they weren't breathing, then there was only one situation. Puppets? You guessed it. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. These 3 people are my masterpieces in a month, puppets. Back then, Yun Luofeng's strength was relatively low, so the azure wings she made were only at the Holy Spirit realm. Now that her strength had increased, the puppets she made had also reached the deity realm. However, these 3 are failures. I plan to sell them to the second prince. Qi Su's eyes widened in shock. You sold your failures to the second prince. Won't the second prince settle the score with you? Hearing this, Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. Although it's a failure, the puppet's strength is at the divine spirit realm. Unlike humans, it doesn't feel pain, so it won't die, to be able to fight endlessly. Furthermore, I will never betray you. Do you think the second prince wouldn't like such a puppet? The reason why this puppet was a failure was because the material she asked Qi Su to look for was still missing a material called the meteoric iron core. The meteoric iron heart was extremely difficult to obtain. With Qi Su's ability, she would not be able to obtain it. Therefore, she did not write it down. Back then, when she had created the azure wings, it was because Zhu Qian had left behind the meteoric iron heart in the illusion that the azure wings had advanced. However, Yun Luofeng had not expected him to advance by swallowing thunder and lightning. As for the 3 puppets in front of him, their strength would forever remain at the level of a deity, unable to break through. This was why Yun Luofeng called it a failure. Miss Yun. Qi Su was silent for a moment before he said, You have these puppets? Why don't you use them for yourself? Instead, you give them to the second prince? These things cannot be measured by price. In other words, selling the puppets would be too much of a loss. Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow. Not only do I want to sell them to the second prince, I also want to sell them on the mainland. Do you think that if there were puppets for sale on the mainland, those powerful people would give them up? Once they give them up, it would mean that they have lost to their competitors. Therefore, I believe that those powerful people would definitely form an army of puppets. Chapter 1809. Qi Su's jaw dropped in shock. What is your goal in doing this? Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes and laughed silently. Puppets will not betray their owners. Similarly, they will not betray me, the one who created them. If I send these puppets to the great families of the mainland, doesn't that prove that I already have all the forces in my hands? Chi Su's body trembled as she looked at Yun Luofeng in shock. Could you imagine that, in the future, the main forces of the great families would all be replaced with puppets? If these puppets were sent to the great families, wouldn't that mean that Yun Luofeng controlled the main forces of all the forces? Miss Yun, is this where your ambition lies? From the very beginning, Yun Luofeng had never wanted a small profit. She had always wanted the entire continent. Yes, my goal is this mainland. One day she would take the entire mainland for herself. Chi Su laughed bitterly. It's not just these puppets. The effects of the spirit-gathering liquid that you provided are also too strong. If you are the only one who can provide this liquid in the future, the forces of the mainland will not refuse if you ask them to work for you. Yun Luofeng smiled and did not answer Chi Su. What she wanted was not for those forces to work for her. She needed an existence that could resist the spirit god mainland. For this, so what if she had to resort to any means? She only needed to protect herself and the people around her. That was enough. The second prince will be leaving tomorrow. Should we go and see him now? Chi Su's eyes were filled with complex emotions, but there was also a hint of admiration. In the Windy Cloud continent, only Yun Luofeng would dare to say that she would take over the entire mainland. Even the top experts of the country would not dare to be so arrogant. However, Chi Su had a feeling that the Windy Cloud continent would soon change because of Yun Luofeng's arrival Fortune Inn. The man stood in front of the window with his hands behind his back. His dark eyes were filled with deep thought. His eyes were fixed on the bustling streets below. No one knew what he was thinking. Your Highness, the second young master of the Qi family has arrived. The guard's voice came from outside the door. The man's tightly furrowed brows relaxed as he smiled. He has finally arrived. Invite him in. Creak. The door was pushed open. The man slowly turned around and looked at Chi Su, who had just walked in. When he saw Yun Luofeng, who followed closely behind her, he unconsciously paused and said, "This lady is Second Master Qi. She's my friend. She's been staying at my house recently, so I brought her along." Oh, the man laughed. His smile was ambiguous. So it's second young Master Qi's friend. Please have a seat. Second brother Qi turned to look at Chi Su and asked, "How's second young Master Qi's preparation?" "I've brought 50 bottles of the enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid and 100 bottles of the ordinary version." Chi Su took out a space ring and placed it on the table. "Please check it, Second Master Qi." "No need. I believe in you." Second brother Qi smiled and took out a stack of banknotes from his lapel. He placed it in front of Chi Su. "This is the money I used to buy the spirit-gathering liquid." Chi Su smiled and put away the banknotes. "Second Master Qi, there's something else I want to sell you." As soon as he finished speaking, Chi Su clapped his hands. In an instant, 3 women walked into the room. These 3 women were not considered beautiful. Instead, they exuded a steely heroic spirit and did not have the gentleness of ordinary women. Chapter 18:10. Second brother Qi was stunned. His face darkened. "Second young Master Qi, what do you mean? Am I that kind of lecherous person? Hurry up and get these women to leave. I have no interest in them." "Second young Master Qi, you've misunderstood me. I want to sell these women to you because I want them to be your guards." As soon as Chi Su finished speaking, a powerful aura surged from the bodies of the few women. This aura caused Qi Lao Air to be startled and frown slightly. "Deity? It's not like I don't have the protection of a deity. I'm afraid I won't accept these deities." At this moment, the woman in white sitting next to Chi Su suddenly said, "Feel them again. See if there's anything unusual about them." Hearing the woman's voice, second brother Qi turned his gaze to the woman in white again. He didn't take a good look at Yun Luofeng just now. Now that he looked, he realized that this woman was very beautiful. She had a demonic and peerless face, pitch-black bright eyes, and her slightly raised lips revealed an evil smile. Her white clothes set off her snow-white skin. Her black hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. However, second brother Qi was not a lecherous person. He regained his composure after being stunned for a moment. What do you mean? Yun Luofeng raised the corners of his lips. The second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi can't sense the uniqueness of these three women? Second brother Qi glanced at Yun Luofeng, then retracted his gaze and looked at the three women who were as still as mountains. After a while, he seemed to have sensed something and paused. Puppets? These three women didn't seem to be alive. This proved that they were puppets. That's right. These are indeed puppets. Yun Luofeng's finger lightly tapped on the table. There are indeed no deities around the second prince. But are you sure they won't betray you? For example, if someone captured their family, lover, and child, would they still be loyal to you? Everyone had weaknesses. Once these weaknesses were grasped by the enemy, they would be a fatal threat. Second brother Qi's expression stiffened. Indeed, he couldn't guarantee that the people around him would always be loyal to him. But these puppets are different. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly. They don't have life. They will only obey orders. So they will never betray you. Second brother Qi fell silent. It had to be said that Yun Luofeng's words were indeed very tempting. Furthermore, Yun Luofeng paused, then continued, "These puppets will not only not betray you, they will not feel pain and will not die. With them, you will have an undead army." The puppets had the same effect as Yun Luofeng's skeleton army. Without life, there would be no pain, and similarly, there would be no death. As long as his body wasn't smashed to pieces, no matter how severe the injury, he could still stand up and fight. All right, second brother Qi was indeed tempted. I want all three of these puppets. If you have other puppets, sell them to me as well. I'm sorry, the number of puppets is limited for now. After a while, Qi Su will put the puppets on sale in the shop. You can buy them from the shop. Yun Luofeng faintly smiled and slowly stood up. All right. Second brother Qi nodded. However, I have a request. No matter who you sell the puppet to, you can't sell it to the other princes of the kingdom of Tianqi. Chapter 1811. I can convince Qi Su to agree to this request. Yun Luofeng didn't agree. Instead, she pushed the matter to Qi Su. After all, she didn't want others to know that she had the ability to forge puppets. If there was a reason, Yun Luofeng didn't ask. Everyone had their own secrets. Moreover, second brother Qi was from the royal family. There must be some secrets involved. Naturally, she wouldn't ask. Young master, young master. At that moment, a panicked voice came from outside the door. Qi Su stood up hurriedly. With a bang, the door was pushed open, and Uncle Zhao stumbled in. Young master, something bad has happened. The family head has brought people from the Qi family here. Moreover, young mistress happened to go to the medicine hall and was captured by the Qi family. They said that they want to bring her back to old man Chen as a concubine. What? Qi Su's footsteps swayed, and he almost couldn't stand steadily. He turned around and cupped his fists at second brother Qi. Second master Qi, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first. With that, he rushed out of the door. His footsteps were as fast as the wind. Second brother Qi furrowed his brows. This Qi clan is really unreasonable. Besides, I just reached an agreement with Qi Su. I can't let Qi Su be defeated by the Qi family. Come with me to the Qi family's medicine hall. He wanted to see how the Qi family would bully him. Outside the medicine hall, there was a crowd. Qi Mo rushed into the medicine hall and dragged Qi Ling, who was hiding behind the counter, out. He slapped her delicate face. Qi Ling was stunned. Her innocent eyes were filled with tears, and her body was trembling. She bit her lips and didn't say a word. Bitch, how dare you hide? You're a piece of trash. The Qi family has raised you for so many years, but you're so ungrateful now. Qi Mo grabbed Qi Ling's hair and dragged her out of the medicine hall. Young mistress. Qi Su's subordinates wanted to stop them, but the group of experts brought by the Qi family blocked their way. They could only watch as Qi Ling was dragged out by Qi Mo. Qi Zheng stood outside the door and watched coldly. His expression was very ruthless. It was as if the person being abused and beaten by Qi Mo wasn't his biological daughter. Everyone. He caught a glimpse of the disdain in the eyes of the onlookers. He coughed dryly and said, "Although Qi Ling is my daughter, she should be taught a lesson for not learning good things at such a young age. Don't be fooled by the fact that she's only 5 years old. She's already learned how to seduce men. Now that the man has come to the Qi family to look for her, I have no choice but to bring her back." Qi Zheng shook his head with a helpless expression. As the saying goes, one should not wash one's dirty linen in public. Not to mention that Qi Ling had never done such a thing. Even if he had committed such a mistake, he would still say that his daughter seduced a man. Wasn't that equivalent to shaming the Qi family? Qi Ling's face was full of grievance, and big teardrops fell from her eyes. I didn't. At first, Qi Mo didn't understand what his father meant. After Qi Ling said that, he came back to his senses and slammed Qi Ling's head against the wall. "Bitch, how dare you deny it? As your brother, I'll teach you a lesson today. Let's see if you dare to embarrass the Qi family again." Qi Ling's head was bleeding profusely. Her face was pale, and her body was trembling. Chapter 18:12. Ahem. Qi Zheng coughed dryly and looked at Qi Mo reproachfully. "You hurt this girl's face. What should we do?" Even so, he didn't stop Qi Mo when he pressed Qi Ling's head against the wall. Qi Mo smiled sinisterly. "The Qi family lacks other things, but we don't lack spirit herbs. No matter how badly she's disfigured, she can recover. However, we can't let her use this spirit herb for nothing. We have to make Qi Su pay for it." He had long wanted to give this damned girl a good beating and vent all the dissatisfaction he had felt towards Qi Su over the years on Qi Ling. Although there were many onlookers, no one stood up to help Qi Ling. They only pointed at her from the side. The fickleness of human nature was just like that. Qi Ling wept soundlessly. Her little face was already covered with tear stains and blood flowed continuously from her forehead. She looked at the crowded streets and her eyes were filled with despair towards this world. "Bitch, even Qi Su can't save you this time." Qi Mo smiled coldly. She lifted Qi Ling's hair again and walked to Qi Zheng's side. "Dad, let's get someone to send this girl back first." "Send her back?" These words caused Qi Ling to tremble all over. She, who had been silent all this while, suddenly opened her mouth and roared. "No, I don't want to go back. Brother, save me. Sister Yun, save me." Qi Zheng frowned. This girl called Yun Yueqing Aunt Yun. Who was Sister Yun? However, Qi Mo didn't think too much about it. She threw Qi Ling aside and said to the Qi family's guards, "Send this girl back to the Qi family first." "Yes, young master." A guard stepped forward and pulled Qi Ling's arm out of the crowd. Qi Ling did not know where she got the strength from, but she opened her mouth and bit the guard's arm. Feeling the pain, the guard loosened his grip. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Qi Ling quickly ran in another direction. Trying to run, Qi Mo's eyes were dark, and his footsteps were swift. Soon, he arrived beside Qi Ling and pressed down on her shoulder. "Bitch, let's see where you can run to this time." Qi Ling's face turned pale. Suddenly, her eyes lit up when she saw two figures rushing towards them. "Brother, Sister Yun." Qi Su saw Qi Ling, who was being held down by Qi Mo. His heart ached when he saw the red fingerprints on the girl's face and the blood flowing from her forehead. "Little Ling." Whoosh! Before Qi Mo could come back to his senses, he heard a loud shout in front of him. Then, a hurricane came at him, causing him to take a few steps back. Qi Su hurriedly protected Qi Ling in his arms and glared at Qi Mo angrily. Then, he lowered his head and stared at the girl's red cheeks. His eyes were filled with guilt and pain. "Little Ling, big brother didn't protect you well. Are you all right? Does the wound hurt?" Qi Ling shook her head as she stared at Qi Su's nervous face. Her large eyes shone brightly as she raised her hand to gently wipe away the tears flowing down the young man's face. "Big brother, little Ling doesn't hurt. Don't cry, it really doesn't hurt at all." Her cheeks and forehead were clearly hurting, but she couldn't say anything. That was because she couldn't let her brother be sad. Lady Yun, please help me take care of my little sister. Chi Su put Qi Ling down. He looked at Yun Luofeng and solemnly instructed. Originally, everyone's attention was on Chi Su, and no one noticed Yun Luofeng, who had followed behind. However, Chi Su's words made everyone turn to look at her. Chapter 1813. Chi Mo was shocked when he saw the woman in white. Of course, he wasn't shocked by Yun Luofeng's appearance. Instead, he was terrified. Similar. Too similar. This woman looked too similar to Yun Yueqing. If she wasn't 20 years younger, he would have suspected that Yun Yueqing had returned. Chi Mo. After Chi Su threw Qi Ling to Yun Luofeng, he slowly raised his head. His cold gaze was like a sharp blade that cut Chi Mo's bones. Back then, I made an agreement with you. If I could make the Qi family's medicinal hall a household name in Maplewood Town within a year, you would release Xiaoling. Are you going back on your word now? At that moment, Chi Su's eyes were filled with killing intent. He wanted to rush over and kill Chi Mo. However, he also knew that he couldn't be impulsive. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. When he was strong enough, he would definitely make these people die a horrible death. Chi Mo was shocked by Chi Su's gaze. His face was pale, and it was difficult for him to breathe. Qi Zheng seemed to have sensed Chi Mo's discomfort. He frowned and quietly helped him resolve the pressure. His cold gaze landed on Chi Su's face like a knife. Chi Su, this isn't Mo's fault. It was my idea. Chi Su sneered. He no longer had any expectations for the Qi family after knowing their true colors. He wasn't surprised at all when he heard Qi Zheng's words. The ancients said that even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. I really don't know why you forced us to die. His eyes were filled with anger, and his fists were clenched tightly. Forced you? Qi Zheng frowned. When did I force you? If Qi Ling hadn't been so careless, would so many things have happened? If she hadn't seduced the old master of the Chen family, would he have asked for her? What he meant was that the old man from the Chen family only liked Qi Ling because she was careless. If she had been reserved, how could he have wanted to marry her? So, it was the woman's fault that a man fancied a woman? Instead, it was the innocent who stole it? Qi Zheng, you seem to have forgotten that Qi Ling is only 5 years old. A 5-year-old girl seducing an old man? Was that even possible? Perhaps because he was too angry. Chi Su didn't even address the other party as father. Instead, he called him by his name. As expected, the way he addressed him made Qi Zheng's entire body tremble in anger. His handsome face was not angry, but it was imposing. How dare you? You unfilial son. How dare you be so unfilial? I gave you the Qi family's medicine hall in Maplewood Town out of affection for my father. I didn't expect you to repay me like this. Qi Zheng's expression was cold. Since that's the case, I'll take back this medicine hall now. Return everything in the medicine hall to me. Not only the formula for the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, but also the money you earned from selling the medicinal liquid last time. Qi Zheng finally stated his intentions and held his chest high. He did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he had done. So what if Yun Yueqing had left the recipe for Qi Su? After all, the Qi family's medicine hall belonged to the Qi family. Hence, there was nothing wrong with him demanding to take back all the items in the medicine hall. Don't even mention the formula, we don't even have a single cent. Qi Su snorted and looked at Qi Zheng coldly. His gaze seemed to be looking at a stranger. Unfilial son, you really are an unfilial son. Qi Zheng angrily pointed at Qi Su. I order you in the name of your father to hand over everything. These are all for your older brother. As the eldest son of the Qi family, your older brother should inherit everything. You're the second son and I don't need anything from you. What right do you have to fight with your older brother? Chapter 1814. Clap, clap, clap. The sound of clapping could be heard. Then, the man's mocking laughter could be heard. It was filled with contempt. This is the first time I've seen someone so biased. Your second son worked so hard for this achievement. Why should you give it away? Who do you think you are? How dare you meddle in the Qi family's business? Qi Zheng glared at Qi Lauer, who was walking over slowly, and asked through gritted teeth. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as he finished speaking, a few dark guards descended from the sky, pulled out their ice-cold swords, and placed them on his neck. Qi Zheng's face turned green. However, he did not dare to speak carelessly in front of someone else's sword. It's you again. Qi Mo recognized the man immediately. What's your relationship with Qi Su? Why are you helping him so many times? Qi Lauer sneered. I need to buy the spirit-gathering liquid from him. Of course, I have to help him. Qi Zheng heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. If you want the spirit-gathering liquid, then it's easy. Get your men to let me go now. I'll give you the liquid after I get the formula. Qi Su was stunned when he heard that. He looked at Qi Lauer anxiously. He was afraid that Qi Lauer would agree to Qi Zheng's request. If that happened, his and Yun Luofeng's plan would be in vain. In comparison, Yun Luofeng remained calm and composed. Her hand gently stroked Qi Ling's back and her black eyes were calm without a ripple of emotion. Qi Ling hid in Yun Luofeng's embrace. She peeked out and looked at Qi Zheng and his son timidly. That's not a bad idea. After Qi Zheng's anticipation and Qi Su's nervousness, Qi Lauer suddenly smiled and said, "But," he paused and his lips curled into a smile. "Rather than working with the shameless Qi family, I'd rather choose Qi Su. At least I'm more assured of his character." Qi Zheng's expression changed instantly. He looked at Qi Lauer, who was so close to him, and his eyes shone with anger. Qi Su has no power or influence. My Qi clan has a lot of assets. If you give up on the Qi clan and choose to cooperate with Qi Su, you will definitely regret it. I don't know if I'll regret it or not. Second brother Qi smiled, revealing his snow-white teeth, making him look cold. But I know that you'll definitely regret it. Get lost. Bang. Second brother Qi suddenly kicked Qi Zheng's chest, sending him flying in an instant. He straightened his sleeves, retracted his leg, and coldly said, "In the future, if you step into Maplewood Town, I will find someone to break your leg." Qi Zheng was frightened by the strength of Qi Lauer's kick. He crawled up awkwardly and ran to the back. Qi Mo was also stunned. This time, he chased after Qi Zheng without waiting for second brother Qi to chase him away. Second young Master Qi. Second brother Qi turned to face Qi Su and smiled. You said before that this is your family's matter and you don't want anyone to interfere. So I didn't do anything to them. I only helped you chase them away. I believe that when you become stronger, they will regret it. Qi Su's talent was the best in the Qi clan. Otherwise, Yun Yueqing would not have taken him in as a disciple. However, he was still too young and he still had a long way to go. As long as he was given time, the entire Qi clan would definitely be destroyed in his hands. That was why second brother Qi said that Qi Zheng would definitely regret it. Chapter 1815. Little Ling Qi Su walked to Qi Mo's side, his eyes filled with heartache. Do you blame me for not settling the score with the Qi family? Qi Ling shook her head. Her little face was filled with determination. I know that you want to hide your strength and bide your time. When you're strong enough, you'll make sure that the Qi family never makes a comeback. My temporary grievances will only become your revenge in the future. She was born in a place like the Qi family. With Yun Yueqing's instructions, how could Qi Ling be an ignorant little girl? It didn't matter that Qi Su didn't deal with the Qi family. After all, they weren't strong enough yet. Once he was strong enough, it would be the end of the Qi family. Little Ling, Master conquered the Qi family. So I will take back everything that belongs to us. Qi Su lowered his eyes, his gaze filled with malice. Master helped the Qi family increase their strength so that the Qi family could become his shield and protect him for the rest of his life. As for the mountain range that Master had seized, he had given it to him. But who knew that after Master disappeared, those people would use their strength to force him to hand over the mountain range and threaten him with Little Ling. For his sister's safety, he could only give up his assets. Qi Su. Yun Luofeng muttered to herself for a moment, then suddenly said, Since this medicine hall belongs to the Qi family, you should return it to them. In an instant, the people who had ignored Yun Luofeng turned to look at her. Uncle Zhao frowned, his tone clearly unfriendly. Miss, the Qi family's medicine hall has been managed by second young master for a long time. Why should it be given to those people? I know you're second young master's friend, but isn't it too much for you to decide for him? In comparison, second brother Qi seemed to have thought of something as well. He looked at Yun Luofeng with a hint of admiration. No wonder Qi Su had taken a liking to this woman. She had extraordinary abilities, and her considerations were more thorough than anyone else's. It was obvious that when second brother Qi saw that Qi Su had brought Yun Luofeng with him, he naturally thought that the two of them had a special relationship. He didn't think that she was the one who had concocted the spirit-gathering potion. This medicine hall belongs to the Qi family. Does the title deed also belong to the Qi family? Yun Luofeng ignored Uncle Zhao's words and continued to stare at Qi Su. Qi Su suddenly understood something and nodded. Indeed, the second prince has chased away the Qi family members on my behalf today. However, the Qi family medicine hall now belongs to the Qi family. Naturally, I can no longer work for the Qi family medicine hall. Qi Su smiled. Uncle Zhao, Miss Yun is a good friend of mine. Her suggestion is not bad. If you want to follow me, let's open another medicine hall. What do you think? In any case, within this month, the Qi family's medicine hall's medicinal herbs were basically sold out. He had a lot of money in his hands and had the capital to leave the Qi family. Only then did Uncle Zhao react. A look of shame flashed across his aged face. So this is Miss Yun's plan. This old servant has misunderstood Miss Yun. Indeed, the Qi family's medicinal hall belongs to the Qi family. No matter how great our achievements are, the Qi family will still be able to take it back. If that's the case, we might as well start another business. At this point, Uncle Zhao paused and continued, Young master, this old servant is willing to follow young master. I will never return to the Qi family to serve that idiot. All right. A smile appeared on Qi Su's face. Uncle Zhao, why don't we go to the Imperial City and open another medicinal hall? I want the Qi family to be unable to survive in the Imperial City.